All right. Restarted the live. Um, Where's my phone? All right. Apologies for that. Thank you, T100. Yes, we're back. I'm gonna try and troll TikTok by putting my profile, my TikTok profile, at the top here. So surely they can't restrict me showing their content. Surely not. We'll see. You never know with these people. But anyway, as I was getting into what I was saying earlier, let me see my friend Daniel. Let me know when you're ready. By the way, on this conversation, let me just see what this guy is saying. Oh no, that's sad. I'm ready when you are on that conversation. Let me just message my friend, see what he's saying. One moment. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Anyway, as I was saying on free speech, the reason why I wanted to do the free speech conversation was, let me just message Dan. I'm back, by the way. Was because of what happened with Elon Musk. So essentially, Elon Musk got fined about. Oh, should I just give it a few minutes for Dan to join again? Sorry about that. T100. We are live. We are live. All right, excellent. All right, we're back. So what I was saying earlier about the free speech conversation. Essentially, Elon Musk got fined, which I'd love to show you guys, but you already know how TikTok is. They don't let me show you anything. But it was to do with people having blue ticks and stuff like that on TikTok on Twitter. Obviously, right now on Twitter, anyone can buy a blue tick for, is it $8.99 a month, $9.99 a month? And so conversation then turns to like, is it accurate to have people just having blue ticks where no one can verify who they are? You know, what's the legitimacy of a blue tick? So they find him for basically not verifying accurately enough people that have blue ticks and people that don't. All right, fair enough. And their whole point around that is that if you have people with blue ticks that are not verified, you can mislead people because I guess you can claim to be people that you're not. I don't know who's paying attention to like who's verified and who isn't. Fair enough. But then the second thing about that is that I guess you can say stuff that's inaccurate, but people might take that as gospel or serious stuff, even though you're just kind of talking nonsense. I'm being very careful not to swear as well. TikTok is they're doing a very good job in making me very well behaved. So the kind of token free speech. Let me just make that my token free speech. Honestly, like T100, they're making me very well behaved. I'm having to think about everything I say. No swearing, no bad words. Like they're like, you're gonna be a good boy, okay? And if you're not, you know what we're gonna do to you. But essentially, my views on free speech are quite. You might say radical, and again, this is why I wish, like eventually I'll get there when I get big enough. Like I'm sure a lot of people would disagree with the way I view these things. But my current perspective on free speech is that essentially it should be almost free to the point that you can say whatever it is you want, to the point of actually like calling for people to be harmed or anything crazy like that, and that should be legal. Now a lot of people think that's quite a radical position, which fair enough. I get it, but I think all the arguments against having speech that free don't really seem that great to me. Like it's not very convincing that we should have these many blocks and type of like what you might say like limits and restrictions on what people can actually say. And so that's kind of the main reason why I'm having this conversation, because I feel like, especially when it comes to young people, I think our generation grew up on the kind of like we want everyone to like don't harm anyone. We don't want to be saying bad things about this people and that people, which is now being called woke pejoratively. But when you think about where woke first began, it was actually kind of a positive thing. Like the idea of being woke is like you're sensitive to. Oh my god, they've restricted me again. What have I said? Unoriginal or reproduced content. It's literally my face, my account on TikTok, and my what do you call it? And my topic lists. Why would they restrict me from showing my stuff? I don't really understand. Anyway, I'm gonna continue anyway. I'm tired of these people restricting me. They're limiting my free speech, which is ironically the kind of thing I'm talking about on this thing. Why are you limiting my free speech? Anyway, back to what I was saying. When woke first began as a thing, it started as a positive thing, which is like at this point I have a black. Do you know what? Maybe I should just have that. Should I just have like a where's a black screen I can have? I don't even make one. Should I just show like a um it's not even showing you anymore because I set it to show like the online thing, so it's not even actually gonna change. But these people just they don't want me to speak about anything. Anyway, let me not get distracted and deterred by that. Let me put this. Let me put the topic list in two places so you can see it up and down. All right, fair enough. Like if you restrict this, then I don't even know. Let me even remove the the references to the other stuff just in case. I think when I show Twitter stuff, usually they don't have a problem with that. But I don't know what these people's problem is. Anyway, let me not get distracted. Back to what I was saying about woke. When the idea of like being woke first started, it was actually a positive thing because it was seen as like, as young people, we're being sensitive to like the plight of marginalized people, you know, trans people, LGBT, I guess black people in some regards. And so that was like a very positive thing for initially anyway. I remember when I was like 15, 16, 17, there was loads of conversations online about like the kind of stuff people used to say and how those things are actually bad. Don't say that anymore. Hi Berserk Games. Thank you for joining. Anyway, moving forward to like just shortly after that, what you start to see was like a lot of these social media companies started to like take people down for being offensive, which is kind of where what I'm facing right now on TikTok. That's kind of where it all began. You know, a lot of people, which again, I guess you can say they were on the left, at least socially anyway, you know, their view was like if someone is being offensive to another group of people, that's bad. And so we're going to try and protect this group by limiting the speech of these people that are being offensive, which again, all in all, wasn't the worst thing in the world. Like it had some good. And I remember, I don't know if you guys remember, again, I'm 28, so I'm a bit older, but like there was, if you guys remember Milo Yiannopoulos, he was going at this black woman. I can't remember exactly who she was. She was an actor, Leslie something. It was really like going at her online, and there was a lot of conversation on Twitter around whether or not his account should be removed. I remember that very, very specifically. But ultimately, I think they didn't remove his account, even though it was being like very, very rude and offensive to her. Because their position at that time was like, free speech should allow you to be offensive to people. Like that's encompassed in the right to say what you want. Which was at the time not a very popular position. A lot of people kind of felt like, no. Like, you know, if you're being offensive to people, there should be consequences, and the consequences should be like people like, I don't know, Twitter, Facebook, all these people should be able to intervene and take you out, basically, like remove your account, because we should be protected from that kind of speech. Eventually, I think he lost that argument and he was removed. Then you started to see gradually. I think what you usually have with these things is not just on the left or right. When these people win, they don't stop there, which is again what the reason for my position is, which is you always start with trying to protect speech or something like that by saying, oh, there's this group that's uniquely harmed by the words, so let's stop this other group from talking. But as soon as you win the right to be like, okay, this is offensive, so it's too much, it always goes further. Like it never just stops at that specific thing. So it's always going to be like that thing. Then actually, but can they actually say this? Can they actually call someone stupid? Can they call someone whatever? You know, it always goes further and further, because I guess the way these things work is that everyone is well, not everyone, but most people are totalitarian in how they believe it. And the more important thing when you think about speech that offends people is that people always think their speech or like the offense you're causing to them with your speech is unique. So if you remember back then, it was around like, I don't know, racial issues and stuff. Now we have what's going on with, you know, like, you know, Gaza and like Jewish communities and stuff like that. It's always going to be like this harm is so unique that even though in other respects you can say this, when you say it to us, it's uniquely violent. Therefore, you shouldn't be allowed to say that. That's kind of how these arguments always go. And then you started to have Twitter, Facebook, all these platforms started to slowly and slowly make this much, much tighter. To the point now, like, on TikTok, if I say X, Y, and Z, they might just say like that's offensive to certain people. Because again, you literally, I remember the other time in my comments, someone was saying something stupid. So I called them the R word. I can't even say that on here now because they've trained me very well. And they took down my comment. I'm not sure if the person reported it or not, but like just insulting people, even that's not allowed. Now, again, I guess you can have a conversation about it, but what tends to happen, and the reason why I always oppose that, is that anytime you have that kind of power, if you think about Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, these are massive, massive companies, and their power to limit speech or whatever is huge. It's a bit like the governments. Oh, my account's probably already flagged. Yeah, you might be right. Yeah, you might be right. They're watching. They're watching me. I mean, to be fair, I do talk about Gaza and a lot of these things. So we already know the people that own TikTok nowadays. They're not friends of these kind of conversations. So yeah, I'm not. You're actually right. I'm not surprised. They have warned me a few times. Last time they took me down and they were like, oh, don't say this, don't say that. Hello, Atta. Thank you for joining. We're talking free speech right now. If you have any thoughts or comments, please feel free to jump on. We can have a conversation about that. My position is that everything should be free, more or less. Like, short of calling for violence, obviously, all those things should be kind of free. But back to what I was saying, what you have to be careful about when you say like, yeah, let's have these restrictions. Like, we have right now we have the Online Services Act, Digital Services Act in the EU, which is what they used as a basis to find Elon Musk. Is that if you think about the way our governments and our countries or the world is structured, it always tends to people that have power. So honestly, man, just be hating on me. I don't know what they want. They don't want me to grow. They want to suppress my energy. I don't know what their problem is. Anyway, back to what I was saying. The world always tends to people that have power. So even when we have, for example, democracy, which was a great idea, we're all trying to make a government that works for everyone, responsive to everyone's needs. What happens immediately? Oh yes, likes. I appreciate that, man. Let's get some likes going. That'll be really nice. Thank you guys. Let's build that up. Hopefully that can overcome the suppression that they're doing, because I feel like we're having a genuinely interesting conversation here, but like they don't want me to just express myself. I don't know. They're limiting my speech. I start wearing a muzzle or something. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Essentially, my reason for having such a absolutist free speech position is that if you have any kind of restrictions, again, I already oppose speech that's calling for harm against other people, stuff like that. That's clearly like that can come into conspiracy if that person gets harmed. So there's already legal protections for that. But what happens when you have restrictions on speech or anything is that they always tend to the people that have power. And I was going to make an example about democracy. The idea about democracy is meant to be like one person, one vote. Everyone gets a chance to represent themselves and say what they want to say. But what happens almost immediately when you have stuff like democracy? People that have money able to buy the system, and whatever it is they want goes. So right now, we've had studies that show like our political system is essentially bought. If you have money, there was actually a very interesting study that showed like when you chart up like people that have money, like rich people, and then going all the way down to the poorest, and you now compare their political opinions, you can draw a straight line between, if you're rich, your political opinions are represented in policy. If you're poor, they're not. Why does that happen? Because the power is now concentrated, and so people that have the power, like that have money to influence that power, can do that. And we've seen that with like when it was BLM, like right, like when it was BLM, there was like such a totalitarian kind of thing of like you can't say anything that even remotely sounds like it's offensive to black people. Again, I'm black. In theory, you would appreciate that, but not really, because again, once that power is created, you can enjoy it for now, but it's going to be weaponized against you later. That's for sure. That's guaranteed, because no side can enjoy that kind of unanimity of power for very long. So what we're seeing now is like, because of what's going on with places like Gaza and stuff like that, now it's about like, what can't you say about Israel, for example, and that's always going to be changing. Like, it's Israel now. In a few years, it might be something else. Even when COVID happened, there was a lot of stuff around. Oh, you ready when I'm ready? Okay, fair enough. All right. I think I'll switch the conversation. Let me plug in my headphones. So I'm gonna continue the free speech stuff shortly, but I do have a guest coming on. We're gonna talk about being a Jehovah Witness, because he was a Jehovah Witness as well. So I think that's gonna make for a very exciting conversation. So one moment while I set up and plug in my while I plug in my testing. Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can't hear me. By the way, can you hear me? Wait one sec. Can you hear me? Where's my other headphones actually? Because these ones are not very good. Yes, you can hear me. Excellent. Yes, I was a Jehovah's Witness. You didn't know this. Wow. You think you have friends. All right, I'm going to invite T100 to come on. And we're going to talk about being Jehovah's Witnesses. Multi-guest? Co-hosts? Which one is it? Sorry, I'm not very good at this. Invite. Oh, no, it's not co-host. It's got to be multi-guest, hasn't it? Give me a moment while I sort out the technical difficulties. Invite. Wait, what? Refresh. I don't see you coming up on the list of people to invite. I don't know if you have to follow me. It's like I'm begging for a follow, but I think you might have to follow me or something because you're not coming up on the thing. Can you request to join the conversation and see what happens? Let's try that. If you can request like to come on and speak, see what. Oh, there you go. You requested. There you go. Oh, you followed me since time. Oh, all right. You're coming up. Testing. Can you hear me? Hello. How are you? Oh, amazing. All right. I'm not gonna ask you your name since you didn't say earlier, so I'm gonna assume you want to stay incognito, which is fine. But but the main reason I wanted to have a conversation about this was to do with something to do with blood transfusion. But maybe we should just give the audience a little step back. Maybe you can tell us a bit about, I guess, your journey of being a Jehovah's Witness. How you then came to like not be a Jehovah's Witness anymore. How like what was that kind of step like? Hmm. Ah, right. What age were you at the time? Sorry, if I may ask. Oh,
Then and
sorry.
then like around year 8, year 9, I'm like,
Is there an echo?
wait, what did you say?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think people can't hear you. I'm not sure why. Is that my fault?
I
Okay,
don't know
sorry.
why as
I think
well.
I had
Is
the
it my
Oh, it's good. No,
settings?
no, it's my fault. It's my fault. I had the computer muted. I always do that to try and prevent echoes. I'm so sorry. I'm so guys.
Okay.
He's already been talking to me. Start again. This guy, start again.
Wait, what
Ruin's the
was,
king of
where
us.
do you want me to start?
No, it's fine. Like, basically, I just asked him about how he became a Jehovah's Witness. So you can just start with like I think you said your mom, your stepmom or something like that. So you can just start with that. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah. So basically, because of my dad, then my dad decided to become one, and then I just got pulled into it because I live with him. I lived with him. I mean, yeah.
Okay. And what
And
age
then
was
like
this?
I'm 18. 2004, whatever age I was in 2014, I'm 18 now.
Oh, okay.
So I was like quite young, I'm guessing.
Okay. Nice. You're
And
guessing.
then like
Nice.
year 9, yeah, year 9, I just like, because obviously you start to develop, you start to like become more mentally aware, and I'm looking around, I'm questioning these things, and it's like it's just BS basically. That's the conclusion I came to.
Wow. So what was the biggest sticking point for you? As in, like, what was the most like ridiculous, if you want to say that, in your view?
It would be different for me because like a lot of like cultural bias came into it because like I didn't go to an English one, like because you know how there's like because I'm not from the UK originally, but you know how there's like different languages ones,
Yes, there are. Yes, there
like
are.
Kingdom hosts.
Hmm.
So there's Spanish, Portuguese, all of that. And then the one I went to, like a lot of culture I went to, there was a lot of gossiping and things like that. And like it was just man, like as well, like I wasn't having like it was a bit of a like you're having a bad life at home, and then you go to like the kingdom or you're all smiles and things like that. And that just didn't sit right with me. And oh,
Okay.
breaking point, breaking point. Do
All
you
right.
know
All
how?
right.
Do you know how like so when you start leveling up, you know how there's levels. Like you do a meeting with the, I forgot the name for it.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. Yeah. The
like the people at the top,
people at
and they're like,
the
we're
elders.
gonna,
The elders.
yeah, the elders, and they're like, we're gonna pray for you, and then Jehovah's gonna tell us like, Jehovah's gonna tell us if like we should be promoted or not. But I was some B. I was like, I wasn't following the religion at all at home.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
then I read like some Bible quotes the night before. I tell them like the whole story, and they're like, "Yeah, Jehovah's done." But I wasn't like even then I wasn't following the religion like that.
Right.
That's when I knew like it was just like
Okay.
fake.
All right. Let me provide some important context for the audience. So essentially, guys, when you grow up, or when you're young in Jehovah, like, in like being a Jehovah Witness, a lot of people don't actually know this, but you're not actually a Jehovah Witness just because your parents are. So when you start going to church and blah blah, you're basically an interested person. So Jehovah's Witnesses don't get baptized at birth. You have to kind of choose to be baptized later on. And so what you have is like these kind of levels or like steps of the process. And in each congregation, which is like your local church or whatever, the highest person, like the leaders of the church, will be what they call the elders. But then below them you have the ministerial servants who are kind of like one step below. And then you have the publishers, and then you have the unbaptized publishers. So if you're coming in as a growing up in it, like I did, and it sounds like T100 did as well, you're an unbaptized publisher, like just because basically you're an interested person. You're still not like in it basically. Being baptized is like the next step up. But for you to be baptized and kind of like you kind of have to be accepted to be baptized. Basically, they have to show like you have to show your commitment to it, like you're preaching regularly, evangelizing, going door to door. You're kind of taking some steps in the church where you're not just like just sitting there. Like the T100 sounds like he was very disinterested in it, basically. So like you have to kind of really get into it, and then you have like a meeting with like the elders, and then they're like, okay, you can become like an unbaptized publisher. And then when you want to get baptized, again, you kind of have to be approved to be baptized. Like if you just go in there, just showing up, just doing whatever, you're not gonna get baptized. Like they're like, yeah, bro, we're not picking you because it's meant to be like your level of seriousness is rewarded. But it sounds like you had your kind of awakening, if you want to say, quite early. You say you were in year nine. Like what when you kind of I guess first got into it, and then you started to oh yes, Daniel shared the live. If you can share the live, guys, because TikTok is repressing my content. Hopefully, I can break through their suppression through that. So if you don't mind sharing the live, that would be really appreciated. Anyway, in year nine, which is interesting. When did I have my own? Probably around year 9, year 10. Was there any specific things that you were hearing about that was kind of like, okay, guys, I'm tired of this. Like, I don't really want to do this anymore? Or was there like, it was just like the
I
routine of it,
mean,
what it was?
it was a bit of everything because then in year nine, like because of the COVID thing, I feel like the COVID thing helped me a lot because after COVID, like the meetings were starting to be at home, and then like I mean during COVID, the meetings were starting to be at home, and then that's when I fully like kind of disassociated. Like I really couldn't be bothered with anything to be honest. But as well, cause like another side of my family is it's mainly just like my dad, like and that circle that's like a Jehovah Witnesses. The rest of my family just isn't. So that like kind of gave me a hand in getting out as well, because I feel like it's more difficult for people to like all they know is JW and things like that.
Right. No, for sure, for sure. So it sounds like that was more like you were a teenager and you were just kind of like, this is long. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
It is a bit of that, but then there's like like for example, I remember one time I was sat in a meeting like in the Kingdom Hall, and they were talking about so if someone's criticizing you, criticizing the religion, you should just like ignore them completely, yeah, and like let them go because that's an apostle. And I'm thinking that sounds like a bit like a cult. Like I'm thinking like
Right.
because I'm a type of person where like I feel like even with Christian, like even though like I do have kind of lean towards Christian values, I feel like you should question everything. Like even like anything you learn, you should question. And if you start not questioning, you kind of settle and you don't continue to evolve in like life and things like that.
Okay. And you kind of felt this when you were in year 9.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. And so did you have a conversation with your dad or your mom and say like, okay, I'm not really feeling this? Um,
bro. It was more like my dad just. It was more like because my dad like he saw me like when he was just like, all right, I'm informing the elders. It was more of that, and as well, like I'm quite interested in politics, and like you can't get
Really,
involved in politics
I'm
at
very interested
all,
in politics as well, as you can see. Were you
and you can't get.
baptized at the time when you kind of decided to kind of
No, I was never
you
baptized.
never
I was
baptized?
never
Okay.
baptized.
I mean, to be fair, with all these questions, you were never gonna make it that far. No shade. It was gonna be long for you to get that far. Like that was kind of like my thing was more you know, like when I started to have my questions, it was more of a case of like you said, like when you start hearing some of the stuff, it just sounded a bit like far fetched. And then I started to like roll
Yep.
my eyes a little bit, like, Like I remember there was one story. I don't know if I can even see the story. Like, I'm really scared of TikTok, so I don't know if I can see the story on here. But like, I was in college and I had learned about. I was in the Gender Equality Society in college, so we're talking about feminism. How women are being treated unfairly, blah blah. And then there's a bit in the Bible about Lot. I don't know if you remember the story of Lot when they were in Sodom and Gomorrah, and the Sodomites came to their house, and the Sodomites
Yeah,
were
I
basically
know
like,
what you mean. When
yeah,
they
bro,
want to sleep with Lot
yeah,
and
that was
that.
a mad story. Like, so guys, if you guys don't know about the story of Lot in the Bible, I'm gonna try and restrict as much as I can say about it because I'm really scared of TikTok. But essentially, the story goes like this: like the Sodomites, which is where the word sodomy comes from, by the way, if you're wondering, which we all know what sodomy is. If you're not sure, just Google it. They went to Lot's house and they were like, you know what we do? We do like, man on man and all that kind of stuff. Can we do that with your son? And Lot was like, no, 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 guys, we can't do that. You can't do that. How about you have my daughters instead? Huh? What?
Huh?
What? And this was presented by the guy that was talking about it in the church as like an act of like God's intelligence and God guided Lot to making the right decision. He did.
Oh, can I add something to that?
Yeah,
Can
go
I
on,
add
go on,
out like
please.
another thing that kind of like now that I think about it, it's like they love to victimize themselves. Like the fact that they get followed a lot in Russia and it's banned in a lot of countries, but a lot of religions are banned like in different places. They do like this whole like emotional thing where it's like, look at what our brothers are doing, and like this is the true religion. We're getting followed. I hate that
Oh, so
because
they always try to say
like
basically
different
like
religions get.
this is like the conviction for why they're right because people are hating on them kind of thing, basically.
Because different religions get hated like everywhere. Like it's not a specific thing to JW.
Hmm. But you mentioned now that like you're still kind of Christian. How do you kind of what's your general beliefs in like Christianity and stuff like that now? Like,
It's hard to say because I'm trying to get back into it, but then like I don't feel like I fit into any specific like denomination or Christianism because like anytime I try to get into something, it's like I start questioning myself even more about like why am I doing this, and even like the fact about how I said about Christianism, I question myself if I would be if like Africa wasn't colonized and things like that. Even like back then, I questioned like because we had our own religion, so I'm questioning like why should I listen to this person religion just because they came along when like the complete opposite could have happened.
interesting. So where does the colonialism come into? When you just to kind of understand that you're saying you still believe in God as in the Christian God, or is it more of a creationist God? How do you kind of can you hear me?
It's hard because like I said, like any single time I try to get, for example, like a thing that still sticks me to is like the fact like that we know Jesus Christ was a real person. Like that fact kind of like leads me towards like the Christian God because obviously we have a lot of like facts and like our facts that Jesus Christ existed, and like just to know that kind of like brings a bit like quite a bit of belief in like the Christian God.
So the fact that Jesus exists and was a real person that was documented, you kind of feel like that kind of makes it likely that Christianity is kind of right. Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't necessarily say likely, but like it does definitely like help. Like it adds a lot to the argument.
Okay, so let's play from that then. So in a world where Jesus exists as a real person, therefore your thinking is likely that someone sent him.
Just because of what we know from him and then what he said. But then the argument opposite could be like if like because I use this criticism a lot for like the Jehovah Witness Bible as well because the argument contrary could be like if you wrote this Bible you could put anything you want in it and then you're trying to tell me this is the right thing so it's like why would I listen to this? So then the same could be said by any Bible. For example, if someone wrote this like obviously they're gonna back their own beliefs, so like it would be easier to justify something without like using like the Bible, something like that. If you get what I mean.
No, no, I get it. I get it.
Like if you could prove something happened if without using like this paper written to back this thing. So like I said, like even when I think of anything of this, like I just start questioning myself even more because it's like because I can see like how my argument could be like combated against kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah. So Daniel was asking like, is there any evidence of Jesus's miracles? Um, not that I know of. I don't know if you know about anything T100. Have you heard about any evidence for?
I'm not really sure I know about like I just know about this burial place, which some people also say like that's just a lie. Like it's things like that or like artifacts written by the Romans and all things like that.
Oh, someone asked Daniel what particular type of evidence. Yeah, I mean, he fed the 5,000. What else did he do? He cured the woman that had the period for 12 years and all that. I mean, those are hard to like. That's hard, those are hard to verify.
Leprosy as well,
Leprosy,
and
yeah,
things like that.
those are hard to verify. Right? Did you look into like when you kind of stopped not being interested in Jehovah's Witness? Did you look into like Islam or any, I don't know, Confucianism? I don't know, any other religion like that, or was it just kind of like you just kind of gave up
Maybe
on Jehovah's Witness?
because no, because it was like a kind of a breaking point. I just like kind of wanted to get away from. Like I'm only starting to like look at these things like recently because I just wanted to get away from things and
Ah.
and then once you get away, it's like it's a bit hard to come back kind of thing.
Nah, for sure, for sure, for sure. It's definitely quite hard. I mean, it's interesting because my kind of I don't know if you want to say awakening. A lot of my initial questions, you watch recaps, gotta go. Oh, no worries. I'm gonna have the live on YouTube, by the way. I put the recording on YouTube when I'm done. So yeah, you can watch that on YouTube as well. Thank you for joining. 1, 2, 3, release them. What an interesting name. Guys, if you don't mind clicking on the screen, give me some likes. Really appreciate that. I'm gonna try and get. Hopefully, I can use that to break the suppression. I feel like we're having a very interesting conversation. A lot of people are gonna be interested in this conversation. So if you want to help me with that, that would be much appreciated. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Anyway, I was saying like a lot of my questions started off religious. Like a lot of my initial questions wasn't to do with like I'm gonna try and disprove this. It was actually to do with like I believe in this, but how do I convince myself more? And so one of my first questions I had
Mm-hmm.
was about like perfection, which is like like how it says like, oh, in paradise we're all gonna be perfect. I was confused about what perfection meant because Adam and Eve were perfect and they were tempted to sin, and
Oh,
Jesus
bro,
was perfect.
can
Yeah,
I just
yeah, go on, go on.
add something there? Another thing that like with the paradise story is like the about the 1,000 years where the devil's gonna be released again.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That bit kind of like it's just like so after we go through 2,000 years of pain,
Yeah.
then okay, and the final bro, just
The
let's
final,
get this over with,
the
bro.
final boss, the final, the devil final boss then comes back, guys. But if you're not sure about this, but I think what T100 is referring to is like I think the story. I don't know if this is the same belief in every other Christianity kind of sect, but the idea is meant to be like there's going to be a paradise where the earth is going to be a beautiful garden where we're going to be playing with wild animals and having a good time, blah blah. In that time, the devil's going to be banished to I'm not sure exactly where for 1,000 years. Then after that, God is going to release the devil back again to test us for a final time. And then if you pass that test, now you can live forever. But if you fail that test, I imagine you can enjoy the 1,000 years and then get caught up in the second. That'd be so cruel, wouldn't it? Imagine like you pass this life, you pass the second test, and in the third test you kind of dropped off. That would be kind of long. But again, I wasn't actually thinking about those kind of things. T100. Again, a lot of my things were to do with like I guess that's similar, right? The practicality of how exactly would this work? Because as a Jehovah's Witness, a huge thing for us was evangelizing. Telling people about the word and
Yeah.
what we believe in and stuff like that. And I actually had this conversation about blood transfusion, which you guys can see on the screen. I had this conversation a lot in school because essentially, just to break down what the blood transfusion position with Jehovah's Witnesses are, the Bible kind of says like you shouldn't take blood, like which is why like the way Christians perfection. Oh, so you're saying something about perfection. Sorry, should I go back to that first? Okay, you asked the question. I'll go back to that if I go into the blood transfusion thing. Essentially, my question on perfection was to do with like the idea is meant to be like in paradise or like in heaven or whatever, we're all going to be perfect. So we all want to be perfect. But when you break down all the beings that were perfect in the Bible, so the angels were perfect in theory, right? Because they had no flesh, they didn't have
Mm-hmm.
fleshly desires, but they were tempted to come and sin on earth. How is that possible if they were perfect and don't even have a flesh, how did they get tempted to sin? That makes no sense. Adam and Eve were perfect and they were tempted to sin. So perfection doesn't actually mean like being free
I
from
mean, it
sin.
almost sounds a bit beneath them, because why would an angel want to come like
It doesn't even make sense.
down
Like,
to a human kind of thing?
yeah, they have no body. They don't really care about sexual stuff. You meant to think. So how can you be
Even
perfect but be tempted to sin? But then also, perfection doesn't mean immortality because Jesus was perfect and he came down to earth and he was killed just like everyone else. So if perfection doesn't mean immortality or it doesn't mean being free from sin, what does it actually mean? Like, what's the prize we're getting for being perfect? It wasn't really clear to me. So that was one of my first questions. I remember asking my dad that, and he kind of was like, let me look into this for you. And he looked into it, and he gave me some answers that were not very satisfactory. And I think once you get,
hmm
I don't know if you're the same T100, but like once you have one question and it can't get answered, it just starts to like snowball from there. You start
yeah,
thinking like, what
you just
else?
get that thing in the back of your mind where you're like,
Yeah, like
let me
what?
look a bit more into this and things. Like,
Yeah,
have you found out about JW, like some sister organization? Like, I forgot the name, but you know how like you have like the main organization, but then you have like a trust here and there.
no,
Like,
I
so
didn't know. I
like a
didn't know
lot of
that.
companies do this.
I
A
didn't know
lot,
about
so
that.
it's basically like just separate like companies like legally, but then they like the funds. A lot of the funds go to like the like what's it called, like the head the I forget the names because this has been a while ago, but like the thing where in America where like the biggest like the top 12 live, that kind of place,
The top 12.
and
Oh,
then
the Bethel. No, not Bethel. I know what you're talking about. The oh, it's wrong color. I know what you're talking about. Wait, what's the point about this? Sorry,
so like have you looked into like a lot of like a lot of these funds you own like war stocks and things like that.
war stocks.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what that means. Sorry, I don't. What's the point in
like
using
as
that
in
term?
like
Sorry.
stocks in like war like arms companies.
So they have stocks in arms companies. I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's not great. That's not great. I'm just gonna highlight the topic I'm talking about, so maybe when people join, they can see more obviously what exactly I'm talking about right now. Just to recap, guys, we're talking about Jehovah's Witnesses and what they believe. And essentially, this was a conversation that was started because I was on Twitter yesterday, and there was a woman in Nigeria who was soliciting donations because she had a blood condition. I'm gonna get to what you said, Bushido. Bushido, you said about humans have more authority. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. I don't know if that was a question or a statement, but just give me 1 second. Um, and so this woman was asking for donations because she had cancer, I believe, and it was gonna like it was quite life threatening and stuff like that. But then after she started again, she got quite a lot of donations. But then she then announced that she's a Jehovah's Witness, and so she's not gonna be taking blood transfusions, which is actually quite critical in her condition, I believe. And a lot of people got really angry at her, and they were like, "We want our money back because you have a potential to get better by taking blood transfusions, but you're refusing to because you're Jehovah's Witness." And so that led to conversations about like being a Jehovah's Witness is a cult, it's a this, it's a that, all that kind of stuff. And so I kind of wanted to like, I guess, give a summary on like Jehovah's Witnesses believe. But then I ran into T100, who's also was a Jehovah's Witness and is no longer that anymore. So we're kind of having a conversation about that. So I'm just going to quickly summarize the Jehovah's Witness position on blood transfusions. Again, you don't have to agree with them. I'm just going to summarize it to you guys, and then I can get into what we were talking about the beliefs and stuff like that. So essentially, and I had a lot of these conversations when I was in school. The position about Jehovah's Witnesses and blood transfusions is essentially like if you're from most Abrahamic religions like Christianity, Islam, um, Judaism, kind of. Yeah, Judaism is Abrahamic, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Essentially, you're not allowed to ingest or take blood. And so that's why they came up with the way of killing the animals where they let out the blood, like, they as opposed to the way it's killed in Europe, where they kind of stun the animal, blah, blah, blah. They have a very specific thing about like you must let out all the blood. Now that comes from the Old Testament, doesn't it? T100, I believe it does. So I don't know if it should probably still apply, but that was an Old Testament thing of like the blood belongs to God because the blood is the source of life. I mean, questionable given what we know about
I don't
human
I
anatomy
kind
now.
of zoomed out there. What were you talking about?
No, it's fine. I'm just explaining what the Jehovah's Witness position on blood transfusion is. So it's all right. You don't have to, pay attention for this one. I'll ask you like a specific question in a minute. Just trying to summarize the position for the audience. So essentially, back to that, all the Abrahamic religions believe that you shouldn't ingest or take blood, which is why they kill the animals in the way they do. Jehovah Witness position then goes like, if you're not allowed to take blood, which is why you kill the animals, then you shouldn't be allowed to accept blood from someone else into your body as well. That's their general position. Now, I don't know if you guys think that makes sense or doesn't make sense. I guess if it's not life threatening, fair enough, you can reject it. But that's the extension of their position, which is like, you're not allowed to take blood, which is why we kill the animals in this way. Therefore, even blood transfusions is basically taking blood by another means. Because if you're eating the animal if you, let's say you kill the animal in a bad way and you're eating the blood and injecting it into your body, to them, they're saying there's no distinction between those two things, which is why they reject blood transfusions. Again, you don't have to agree with it, but that's the general summary of the position. Oh, we're up to 2K likes. Excellent. Amazing. Thank you so much, guys. Hopefully, we're breaking the algorithm and the suppression. I hope you can hear that TikTok. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Was that something? Obviously, you left it when you were quite young and stuff like that. Are your parents still Jehovah's Witnesses?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And how do you interact with them in terms of like, like Jehovah's Witnesses have a general thing about like obviously minimizing interactions with people that are not like, do you have any problem with your parents because of that?
Nah, my dad can't do that. Like, I've told him to his face, it's wrong, but he just can't do that. Like, he said that like you're my son, so I'm not gonna stop speaking to you.
Yeah.
But that it is not right.
Nah, you're right. You're right. I mean, my parents and I are still very close. Like they're still, and I do wonder. A part of me, they're not here, so I'll say that. But like a part of me wonders basically what happens in the JW kind of structure is like, if you're like a father, married, husband, blah blah, you're meant to kind of be an elder because like, they're kind of like the kind of responsibility you have at home and all that kind of stuff is commensurate to that position. But if let's say for example, give me a second, Daniel, I'll answer that. If let's say for example, like your family is a bit like in disarray, you might have like a couple of children that are knowing the truth, blah blah. They can use that to basically be like, you shouldn't be an elder because basically it's kind of, I guess the theory, which is kind of harsh, is like if you haven't got your own house in order, should you be leading the house of God? Kind of cynical, but I guess one can see their point. Daniel asked me about the thoughts on the Trinity. Do you believe in the Trinity now, JMT100? Do you have any views on that specifically, or? Daniel, I became a JW because my parents are JW,
Have
bro.
any
Even even
specifically on it? I
even
don't
my
have any views specifically.
even my grandparents are sorry. Okay, oh, fair enough. Even my grandparents are Jehovah's Witnesses. I was I was born into this. Like we've been about this life for a very very long time. So my grandparents are Jehovah's Witnesses. My parents are Jehovah's Witnesses on both sides actually. Like my mom and my dad's side. Everyone on this, like as far back as we know anyway, are Jehovah's Witnesses. So that's kind of how I came into it. So I was born into it. I still think the funny thing about it now is like, I don't know about UT100, but I actually think like if I was to go back to being Christian, I probably just would be a JW again. Because in as much as there's some things that they like the blood transfusion stuff, which I think if it's a life or death thing, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna take the blood. If God disagrees with that, then fair enough. But let me just enjoy this life first. But in as much as those kind of beliefs are kind of, if you want to say like crazy or a bit deep, I still think overall the kind of their view on Christianity and the way of the world kind of makes sense. And I do think, even though it's a bit controversial, their logic is basically like they're convinced that they're right about, you know, what the world is and what they believe in. And so their kind of important duty is to like go and tell other people about that because they genuinely think only they're going to be saved and everyone else is not. Which I guess you can kind of understand that, right? If you believe this thing is genuinely like a life or death thing, which they do, and a lot of Christians, I guess, should, then it kind of follows on that you'd want to tell as many people as possible because you genuinely think this is their chance to being saved. But like, if I could ask you T100, how do you reconcile like, is your view like, if you still believe in God, do you believe in like an afterlife or heaven and earth? Like, what's your view on like what's going to happen after we die, kind of thing?
Uh, And to be fair, I don't know because like I said, like a lot of the things that I think like I can see how they would like how you can like what's it, like criticize them and things like that. But like the thing with like you saying that you probably go back to like being a JW, I feel like even with the preaching, a lot of it is passive. Like they're really just out there, but they're not really doing like not doing much. Because around my city, I see like a lot of them as well. They're just out there, but nothing much is happening. It's like ticking a box because you know how
Bro,
you
bro,
need about like
bro. That sounds really funny. That reminds me of a meme I saw around the night. Anyway, go on. I'm just laughing at myself.
so you know how they need like a certain amount of hours that it feels like they're just trying to like get like that amount of hours so they can stay in that level and then because even then like because I've seen a lot of like even in the kingdom I've seen like people get criticized for not getting enough hours. It's like, bro, you don't know what's going on with this person's life. Like, and isn't it like a thing in the Bible where it's like everyone gives their own bit? Like, so why should we measure? Like, you even set the limit of 35 hours. And like another thing with like the convention of being like, yeah, we believe we're right. Like the a thing that bothers me about that is like the 144,000. Because
Oh
how
right.
do you know like God has spoken to you and then God has given you this vision? Because I could like wake up tomorrow and have like not be well mentally and believe that. So like, how would you exactly prove that? Because they say like they have this meeting and they pray to God, but then I could give you my example because they had the meeting and they prayed to God, but I wasn't into it like that, and they still allowed me. So how do you like make sure that this person is really one of them 144,000?
Okay, wait, wait. So you said a lot. Let me break it down to the audience because I feel like you and I are speaking, maybe a different language to people that don't really know much about this. Couple of things you said about the first thing was about the preaching. You said it's like it's quite passive. So, guys, context about that. I think a few years ago, probably before COVID, a lot of you were probably used to like Jehovah Witnesses coming to your door, knocking on your door, or waking you up sometimes. Sorry about that. I apologize. I've been one of those people a few times, waking people up and trying to get them to. Don't you believe in Jesus? Why not? Let me tell you why you're wrong. Anyway, those kind of things. But I think what happened after COVID was like, we couldn't like do a lot of contact stuff, blah blah. And I think the general consensus in like Jehovah's Witnesses is kind of like that way is dying out. Like going to people's doors to tell them about stuff is kind of annoying. So I think they stopped doing that, and what they started doing now is like you might see them at train stations, at like busy public places, kind of like almost inviting people to come and speak to them, as opposed to like them going out to like go to your house and stuff. Because again, I think that kind of way of preaching is probably frowned upon now. So that's probably what you're referring to T100. Like it is passive, it is more passive now, but I think it does kind of follow on with the times. Like you're not going to see them coming to your door anymore because when COVID happened, people didn't really want people they don't know coming to their doors and be telling them stuff. But also in 2025, going into 2026, going into people's door to kind of tell them stuff is probably not the best like approach now. It
Mm-hmm.
probably does more to annoy them than it does to convince them of anything. Now the second thing you mentioned is 144,000. Now again, key distinction with Jehovah's Witnesses is that they believe that only 144,000 people are going to go to heaven. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, like, where does this idea come from? Now, this is actually in the Bible. Let me try and find it. It is Revelations. Is it 14? Let me see how good my knowledge is on these things are. Revelations. Oh, I love my
Mine is a bit
mind.
rusty, I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, I'm so smart. Sorry. What are you saying? Revelations 14. Here we go. Then I looked before the Lamb, blah, 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 and with him 144,000 who had his name written on their foreheads. And I heard a sound from heaven, blah, 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 blah. Essentially, the idea is meant to be like the 144,000 come from the 12 tribes of who? Ade, your mind is incredible. How do I remember these things? I don't even know. The 12 tribes of Judah. So you can see the tribes here. So if you guys always wonder, like, why do Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe like everyone's going to go to heaven? It is rooted in the Bible, for what it's worth. Now some people disagree and say like this doesn't mean it's a limited number, but I guess the Bible has a lot of symbolic numbers that mean this but don't really mean that. Like 7 days. What do they think of humility? What do you mean about? What do you mean? What they think of humility? I don't get it. Do they think people should be humble or not? Is that what you're asking me? Do you think you should be brag? Oh, you're trolling me. Oh, Honeybee is so funny. That's actually really funny. That was really. Oh, sorry. This girl's actually mad funny, man. Oh, I'm gonna tell her she's not funny later on. She's gonna be like, "What do you mean? You said I was funny on live. Everyone saw." That was hilarious. I'm still laughing. Anyway, don't distract me, okay, man, please. Oh, that was really funny. Okay. All right. So this is where the idea of like 144,000 come from. So the JW belief is kind of like 144,000 people are going to go to heaven to rule with God as kings and priests. That's what it is, T100, right? And then the rest of the people are going to be in paradise on earth because like God is going to make the earth, a beautiful paradise, which is I think Psalm 37. Psalm 37, I think. Is it 37? Something like that. 37 verse 20. Oh, Ade, how do you do it? Verse 29. Yep. The righteous will inherit the land and dwell in it forever. So that's kind of their understanding of like this is why we're all gonna like the rest of the people are gonna live on earth. Now obviously most Christian sects believe like everyone that's good, roughly, if you're in the good book and all that, everyone's going to go to heaven, and the rest of the people that are bad are going to burn in a fire of eternal torment or whatever like that. Interestingly, JWs don't believe in hell because apparently their theory is that God is too loving to send you to go and be tortured forever. Now, some of the people that God done away with in the Bible, like the Assyrians and the people that were mocking was it Elisha when he was climbing, they might have something to say about that. Like, and I know you say your God is loving, but based on the way he treated us, I'm not too sure. But that's the general belief. So you mentioned earlier about like the people. Like, how do you know 144,000? Can you talk us through like what you understand, just to give the audience like some background of how exactly those 144,000 are selected? Do you remember what they said about how they selected?
So it's a thing where it's like you kind of like you start to come to this realization and God speaks to you, and I wouldn't say exactly speaks to you, but like it's a bit of a like there's not a specific way, but it's kind of like you come up with it, you start thinking about it, you speak to like another like you speak to the elders or whatever,
Yep.
and then the elders bring this like person high up in the organization that is already 100 part of the 144,000, and they start having it like they start speaking to you, and they
Hmm.
basically then pray about it, and then if they think yeah he is, because you kind of like show yourself, and then they accept you into the 144,000 officially.
Yeah, yeah. And do you have anyone in your congregation that was one of them, or not really?
No, actually I didn't.
Oh, we did. Okay, I think we had one person. I don't think it was in our congregation. We used to be in like it used to come to the memorial, and everyone would look at them like they're gods. Like, oh my god, he's one of them. He's like he's the one that's gonna be going to heaven. Now obviously Jehovah's Witnesses also believe like they're the only Christian sects that are gonna be going to heaven. Like they basically believe like
Yeah, yeah.
all the other Christian sects are like kind of like not basically they're not gonna make it. That kind of thing.
Do you know what I wonder? I
Yeah, go on.
wonder like so I wonder about Joe, because it's a pretty new like relatively new religion. So I wonder like what what were people doing before? So nobody before was pleasing God or anything like that. That's one of the things that
it
sticks to me
it does make
as
you
well,
wonder, isn't it?
because it
Because
is relatively
yeah, I think it was 1830 something or whatever that it was kind of founded.
yeah
But I guess you could have that
in
critique
America.
in America. Exactly. I guess you could have. It's interesting. It's a bit like all the Marvel superheroes. They always save the world in New York. Like the world is not in danger in Nigeria or in Pretoria, South Africa. It's always in New York for some weird reason. I don't know. But it does make you wonder. Like, I guess you could say that about other religions. Of course, you're still Christian, right? You could say like Christianity itself is not as old as humanity, right? Like it is still relatively.
hmm
So how do you dissect that as someone that's a Christian still?
like that's exactly why I said that, because like we don't exactly know when the world like started and things like that. And we don't know when like I guess we kind of know, because people think Christianism came up in the 7th century, but there's no exact way to like say that. So there's a lot of questions that are being left unanswered. But like I wanted to mention something else that I don't know how we forgot about this, but the predictions. Do you know about the predictions?
Oh, about remind me, please. I don't remember exactly which ones.
So I can't remember the exact years, but my grandpa was actually a Jehovah Witness, and he left because one of the like
Mm.
they said that it was going to happen, and
Yes,
then
I
it
remember.
didn't happen,
Yeah,
so
it
he
was like
decided to
was it
leave.
in the 90s or the 80s or something.
1970, I think one of them was 1974, 75, and that's when he left, because they said the
Oh,
world was going to end. And then have you heard about the one about I think Abraham and Noah coming back?
Abraham and Noah coming back. No, I haven't
I
heard about
think
that.
this one's 1923. If I'm so there, I think there was three. There's a 1914 one. There's a 1920s one, and there's a 1970s one.
Ah, right, right. Okay, so let me
But
give the
obviously, we're all still here, so you know.
let me give the audience some context again. So part of what Jehovah's Witnesses do, which is like they take a very studious approach to the Bible. So they pride themselves on being quite scholarly about it, like trying to like get into like the deeper meanings of like revelations and all these kind of things. And so what they try and do after they do their deep studying and consultation is like they try and predict when certain things are going to happen. So I think in the 20th century, they predicted that the world would end. Or I think Jesus would come, basically, not the world would end. I guess Jesus coming doesn't mean the world is ending, right? That Jesus would come in I think it's 1974. You said T100, right? They kind of predicted that would happen, and then obviously
There's been a couple of times. It's not only one
it's not
time.
only
They've
okay, okay.
predicted a couple of years.
They predicted. They predicted a few times that something was, these things were gonna happen, and it didn't happen, which actually led a lot of people to kind of be like, okay, maybe this is not really what we thought it was. And the 1914 one is kind of like their theory is basically like the last days. I think the Bible mentions the last days, right? Which is just meant to refer to like before Jesus comes. Their theory is that the last days began in 1914. I'm not sure exactly how they got to that, but I guess because the World War One started in 1914, they were like, since then everything's been rubbish. I don't know. Some people could question like if that's really true or not, but I guess they would say the kind of scale and magnitude of World War One, the kind of unforeseen destruction, like mass unaliving. Let me not say the word. TikTok is teaching me nowadays. That happened on a scale like we've never seen before. Then you had World War Two. Then you had, I don't know if they put Vietnam War in that. I mean, you could say like stuff like slavery happened before that. Was that was that an example of the dire times? I guess to them, not really. They're American. They're American,
I
right?
mean,
They were involved.
wasn't like adding to this wasn't like Noah's thing meant to like that thing like it also like baffles me because it's like it was meant to be like a reset on Earth. So why are we back to this? Like, do you know what I'm getting at?
No, no.
Like
Review
the
about Noah.
whole
Sorry. Oh, the
flood
Noah's Ark.
thing,
Oh, right,
the whole
right, right,
flood.
right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
So it's like why are we back to this when that
That's
was
actually a
meant to
good
be like
point,
a
isn't it? Wait,
reset?
hold on, hold on, hold on. The story about Noah's Ark was kind of like God had like all the good people, right, on the boat,
Yeah,
and then he flooded the earth and
it
killed all the
was it
bad
was too
people
evil.
alive.
The Earth was too evil, too spread of evil. So like what about like
Wait,
when
wait, wait,
like
hold on.
millions of black people
I didn't think about it.
were being enslaved and things like that?
Wait, slow down. T100, you just brought up a very good point, which I never thought about. If Noah's story is meant to be like all the bad people were like, eradicated on Earth, right? And then they planted the Earth with all the good people again. How do we come back to what we are now? I don't get it. Where did all the bad people come from again? I thought like it was meant to be just good people left. No? I never thought about that before. Did you, is that what you're kind of meaning? Because I just thought about that now. I never thought about that like that
Yeah,
before.
that is what I kind of mean. Like, but then I've asked that question a few times, and they're just like,
Oh.
well, God will answer some questions when he comes back. That's what they
Oh.
usually say.
Guys, we're coming up with theology in this chat. Isn't that amazing? How did bad people come back after Noah's, the whole story about Noah and the ark? Put aside the plausibility of fitting all the two animals on the boat, which we're not even going to get into. That doesn't make sense. Wow. T100, I really appreciate you for that. This is incredible. Theology. We're making history here, guys. This is really amazing. I'm not seeing you guys hit the like button. I just came up with a brand new theory of challenging, the efficacy of the Bible, and no one's liking the screen. Come on, guys. Reward our work, reward our efforts, reward our originality on this. Sorry, what was the other point you made just now? I just missed that. Sorry, you made a second point.
What point?
I think you made a second point about something else. I missed it.
I'm trying to think.
You made 2 points.
Oh, I made a point about like enslavement of black people and things like that.
All right.
Surely that was a pretty dark time in history.
It's interesting you mentioned that because I had a debate about God and religion, I think a couple months ago, and a lot of black people in the audience specifically, mentioned the fact that it's hard to square Christianity with stuff like slavery. But then, what would you say to the fact that a pushback to that could be like, even in the Bible, God didn't explicitly condemn stuff like slavery, right? It was just kind of like,
I literally seen a guy on TikTok, a white American man saying that exact thing that um enslavement isn't inherently like a bad thing and things like that. But then that also wouldn't that get into like the whole equal, we're all equal kind of thing?
yeah, of course.
Because we're meant to all be in the same kind of level. We're meant to treat your neighbor exactly as you would want to be treated. And if someone's enslaved, you don't want to be. The master does never want to be enslaved. So how
No.
would you then justify that you're treating them
Yeah.
the same way that you would want to be treated?
Yeah, and it also calls into question, right? Like the whole idea is meant to be like everything from God is meant to be good and you can't be wrong. So if God is somehow or was somehow involved in a system where slavery was permissible, how is that possible? Like slavery is just bad, like
This
generally, right?
the way Jehovah Witnesses combat this is that they believe that right now the devil is in control of
Ah,
the
yes,
because
true,
this
true.
is a
Yeah.
bit of a mad story, but they basically believe that. So the devil came to like God and he was like, "Yeah, I could really do the same job as you." And then God's like, "Yeah, all right, you think so? Okay,
All right.
have a few like have a
I
few years to like prove
yes,
yourself."
yeah.
And then like right now we're meant to be like in the time where like
The
the
devil
devil is
he's
trying to
running
prove, but then
stuff basically.
yeah, but then apparently the Jehovah Witnesses say that like the devil has realized that he can't do as good of a show. Right now he's just trying to take as many people with him. That's literally the justification
Is
that
is,
I've been
is
given.
is that like a unique Jehovah's Witness story? I actually can't remember. 'Cause I remember learning that from us, but is that like is that unique to ours? Is that unique to Jehovah's Witnesses, or is like to other Christians?
That's that's what I hate with Jehovah Witnesses in my kingdom hole. But I'm not sure if it's like a whole like Jehovah Witnesses. But that's what I hate in my kingdom hole. So I can't speak on that.
Ah, I feel like that's the general, consensus. Kind of like the devil got cast down to earth, right? And so now he's kind of like trying to convert people and take them with him, blah blah. Which again, if you think about what that means in the context of like the world we live in, essentially we're all living a bet between God and the devil. It's a bit of a weird thing to do, isn't it? Like lives are meant to be precious and sacred, which is kind of the same, questions or problems I have with the Job story, which is like God is like, I'm gonna let the devil test you. And Job is like, okay, cool, fair
Yeah,
enough.
yeah.
But
That
then
story is a bit mad.
the devil goes as far as like unaliving Job's children. And then after, when the whole test
Like
is
what the
over,
kids do.
what are they in it? Have you seen that Jordan thing? Like, F them, F them kids. Like, why are the kids in it, first of all? But then, what then happens after is God then be like, oh, Job, because you were so loyal to me, I'm gonna give you new kids. As though like you can just replace a kid for a kid. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like let me just take that one and just give you this new one.
Mm-hmm.
They don't work that way. It's not like for like, like swap. Like, what are you talking about? That was a bit of a crazy part in the story. So like, if you believe in the whole concept, essentially, like, yeah, the Job story is mad. You're totally right, Dan. But like, it also kind of means like we're living like an elongated bet between God and devil, which doesn't make sense. But then think about, have you ever thought about this T100 as well? Which is like everything comes from God, right? And God can never have any bad thing come from him. So where did the devil come from? Like God created all things, right? So how did he create something
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of like the antithesis? And I can't
I
even say the
think
word of him.
I think the way Jehovah Witnesses combat this is like it's like a thing where it's like you needed the option for like for choice because then like I forgot exactly what it is, but it's like you need the option for choice because then like you would just be like kind of robots and things or something like that. Like you would just like be like real like no minor or like real just like pattern followers and things like that. So you needed that option. That's why they justify like the tree being there as well because like it's like if you want to you like you have that option, but this is what God wants you to do kind of thing. Because even you could question like the like why was the tree placed there kind of thing. That's the way like if like will we not just be better off like just like
Exactly, like
being
just
perfect
be
and like
perfect.
there
It's
was
like
no
just have a nice life already.
temptation.
Like we don't have to go through any, because like if God made it and He's meant to make it like we're meant to be like, oh, a testament to how great He is and stuff. What's the need for all these other side stories and stuff?
That's That's also why they justify like the fact that going off the story that God gave like the devil time to prove himself. A lot of the like justification to why God didn't just punish him is
Hmm?
because apparently other angels were present and they were like, so if God punished them and the other angels gonna be like,
It's a bit
nobody
sus.
can stand up to him kind of thing. Like
Yeah, yeah,
like they would have caused that, but then at the same time it's like. Bro, he did everything for you. He created like who are you?
yeah.
Like
His
kind
powers,
of
his
thing,
powers is meant to be
like
absolute, isn't it? It's not meant to be like it's meant to be beyond question. So, but I guess that also
yeah.
cuts into like not just Jehovah's Witness, right? Others. I'm gonna go back to that again. You mentioned earlier, like you are still kind of, I guess, Christian, right? Nominally speaking. How do
Yeah, like
you
I wouldn't call
reconcile
like
those?
like I said I wouldn't call myself like a necessary Christian because
Oh,
like
okay,
I like I wouldn't live like the like Christian lifestyle, but then like my beliefs lean towards that way kind of thing.
they lean towards Christianity and lean towards it in the sense of you believe in like Jesus, I guess, right?
Yeah, those kind of things. Yeah, and
those
like just
those kind of
like
things. This guy's hilarious.
some as in like and then just some of the values as well. Like which you could say is like pretty common sense. Like to just like to each other equally and things like that.
Okay,
Just
okay.
those values.
So how would you then, if you is there any kind of church right now that you lean towards based on, I don't know, whatever they believe or
Like
something?
no, because I can see issues with like a lot of them for like every single like every time I try to look into it, it's just a whole like because like even like an issue with like a lot of how do you separate the like religion from the people? That is because a lot of like religions historically have had like bad people in them and like bad customs, but then you could say, oh, that's not the religion, that's the people. And then
Right.
when do you like put across as in like what is religion and what is the people?
Why you said inactivity? Huh? Oh, there you go. So, oh, try again. Sorry, 1 second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can do.
Sorry, TikTok just told me to verify my activity. There we go. We're back. All right. So if you were like growing, like living your life now, let me ask you this specific question. Do you think what do you think happens after we die? Do you believe in like an afterlife, like heaven? Like, what's your current take right now? Given that you're not affiliated with any religion, right? Like each specific sect of Christianity kind of have maybe not specific sect. Jehovah's Witnesses have their own different beliefs. I think everyone else kind of believes the same thing, but where would you lean
Mm-hmm.
towards what happens like after that? Do you think about that? Do you care about that at all?
I do think about it, but then like my answer would be like that I believe that there is some kind of like paradise heavenish, but then I can see like how you like I said I can see how you like would combat that and things like that.
No, I, mean, I wouldn't even say combat.
Like
I
for
wouldn't
example,
debate it with you. I just want to hear your view. Like, I'm just curious to see how you.
yeah, that is what I like kind of lean towards.
Okay, okay. And are you concerned about like what would happen if like I don't know, maybe your lack of affiliation then leads to like I don't know,
Like
I
if
don't know.
God came today, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Mm,
mean, like it's hard to say because like even with Christianism, it's like you don't judge each other,
yeah,
which in practice a lot of judgment happens. But like
yeah.
that is the typical thing. So like who are like who like even like myself, I try to like not judge people a lot because like you don't know what's led to that, and you don't like for example like like I'm gonna give an example of like Jesus Christ, yeah, because the story about a prostitute and like people were throwing rocks at her, and then Jesus says like whoever's I forgot the exact words, but like whoever
Let
hasn't
who has not
sinned
sinned for
before
cast the
or who
first
is
stone, right?
perfect
Yeah.
throw the first rock, and like so nobody's really perfect. So I feel like I wouldn't say I'm like doing my best to follow like the whole Christian values, but I'm really trying my best here to like be like as like critique like be as like rational as possible. So like I
Right.
don't really worry about things like that.
I'm the same as you. Like, even though I'm not Christian anymore, I do like the ideals of it. And then again, a lot of people will say like what you've said, like, oh, a lot of those ideals are not specific to Christianity. But I feel like a lot of the way I am in terms of my moral compass and worldview is kind of shaped by believing in those things, right? Like, being a good person,
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff. So like, in as much as I don't believe in it, like as a way of living my life, like going to church and that kind of stuff, I still like the idea of it. And I don't know about you, but like I've always said, like I'll be open to dating someone that's religious, like Christian, like Jehovah's person wouldn't date me, obviously, but like Christian, even a
Yeah.
Muslim, like I feel like I'm quite generally relatively easy on that
Mm-hmm.
because I like the idea of it again in theory because
Yeah.
it provides a kind of rough moral guide that like I think if you were not in, you might not have. I don't know. I don't know. What's your take on that? Would you date someone that was Muslim, by the way?
I don't think like I would like I don't think there's anything wrong, but I don't think like Christian like I don't think Muslim women are allowed to date like people outside of but
Bro,
Muslim men are allowed to date
don't worry
people
about the
outside that religion.
practicality about it for now, mate. Just tell me what you want, yeah?
Oh yeah, but like as in like I'm no I have no judgment. Like the only religion I wouldn't date is like Mormon because like those
Mormon,
guys
you
were
wouldn't date a
racist
Mormon.
like towards black people.
Oh,
No,
I don't really
those
know.
guys were racist towards black people.
I don't really know their views and stuff. I'll be real. What's specific about their thing? What do they believe in that's so unique and stuff?
So basically, they believe that like like black skin was the mark of the people that chose the devil or sided with the devil.
Huh? Really?
Just to put it simple, yeah, yeah.
Whoa, whoa. I don't know if I can look into that before if TikTok will take me down. Mormon beliefs. What do they believe in? I'm not sure.
But they've kind of like they've removed that outside, like they've like
Oh, they've kind of
went
got
away
rid of
from
it.
that
Yeah,
side.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, because now there's more. Then now there's black women, so they've kind of like tried to hide that past a bit.
They're like, yeah, this is not looking good. It's not looking good. Nah, fair enough. Fair enough. That's interesting. And would you raise your kids to be like Christian? Would you encourage them to do that, or would you just kind of be like, nah, not really, just do what you want,
I,
kind of?
I would encourage them to like just be critical and like rational about everything. Like obviously, like obviously, like I would kind of, it will like even like there was some natural bias to it. I would probably like lean them towards more Christianity, but then
Hmm.
like if you wanna have a like a conversation about like why you wanna pick this religion and you can justify it properly, and I can tell like you're not being like brainwashed or anything. I'm like, all right, go ahead, kind of as long as it's like not some crazy like thing as like some like devilish kind of like
Right,
less
right,
like bloodish kind of like thing
okay, I see what you mean. I see. I think I see what you mean. Like, let's keep it in bounds, but like, generally
yeah,
speaking, you don't
yeah.
have any strong objections to a kind of. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Have you thought about any kind of philosophical objections to religion, like Christianity and stuff? Because that was kind of where my roots came in. Like when I first started thinking about these things, a lot of my objections were more philosophical in the sense of like, I guess the
As
plausibility
in,
slash
can you give an
practicality.
example?
I'll give okay. An example is like I talked about this in my God debate, which is like God is meant to be like it's meant to have no flesh and blood, right? Like, it's meant to be like a spirit creature, and it's
Mm-hmm.
meant to exist in heaven. But heaven is a place that has to be outside of space and time because God is meant to be outside of space and time. But being outside of space and time is a logical contradiction because there is no outside of space and time. Like space and time is all there is. And so like we can't even physically comprehend that. So where would God
But
exist
then
in?
to create space and time, wouldn't you have to be outside of space and time?
That's another contradiction right there, right? Space and time can has to have always existed because if you think about it, if you're outside of space and time, that makes no sense because
But then the whole thing to back that is that God's like almighty and all powerful, so then he could do that. But we can't comprehend that obviously because we are within. It's like how like 2D and 3D. It's like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
humans struggle to like understand 4D because like it's like outside of the realm. But like scientists say it's a possibility, but then our brain just can't comprehend what like 4D would look like.
But then
But
I guess the
they
question
imagine for it to be real.
But then the question then becomes like, if we can't physically comprehend of this being, how can we believe in him or worship him or whatever? Like, our brains literally can't even understand. It would be a bit like trying to get a dolphin to like buy into AI. Like, if we get it, but like, it means nothing to them. So like, how can they believe in AI or understand what it like? They can't even understand it. So if we can't understand this thing as like a concept, how can we then believe in it enough to like live our lives around the principle and the ideas and stuff like that? That was kind of where a lot of my initial
Mm-hmm.
questions came from, and part the reason why I think you said like you're still more of a Christian, but like part of the reason why I'm not even a Christian at all or any religion is because those questions to me transcend any specific you know ideology because they're just more about the ontological, metaphysical, if you want to say, nature of like this being that we call God. And so that's more of a creationist God argument. Like, if you believe like this being created the world, how? Like, how did he direct it? Because we can't even understand the being. And there's a lot more stuff around those kind of things. But those are the kind of that gives you a flavor of like my current jibe and perspective on it. And I really wanted those questions to be answered. I'll be honest. Like when I was going through my kind of phase, if you want to call it, my friend Daniel was in the chat. You can testify to this. I will talk about this endlessly to anyone that would listen because for me, I actually wanted to believe. Like I thought it was a good way of living. I thought like overall it made some kind of sense. So I really really wanted to like believe in this. But the more you have one of those questions, you have another one, you have another one, you have another one, then it just becomes very that Ecclesiastes where Solomon just gets fed up like the whole time he's just complaining about how the world is so complex and he wishes it wasn't so smart to kind of I won't say I'm smart as King Solomon, but I mean if you guys say it, I won't mind. but like that was kind of how I felt around the whole thing. I don't know if you've thought about those kind of things. If you haven't, don't start. I'll tell you now
About what about what
about those
exactly?
about those kind of philosophical objections to God, like how conceivable the whole thing is.
I'll probably have, but like I wouldn't like I don't know how to pinpoint them exactly, but it's probably like spilled over here and there.
Again, I mean, As much as it
I mean,
doesn't.
even like I can think of a big example. I've just thought about it.
Gone.
Like I've discussed this with some of my friends, but there hasn't really been an answer. So like, let's say right that you were like a part of like the Canaan tribe, but I don't know the exact name. But
Hmm.
let's say if you're part of that tribe, then like and then you know you hear about the Israels like the Israelites coming, and it's like, would you be wrong to like take up arms to fight against the Because you've been living in this land for like years, and like your whole family's here,
Yeah.
like your whole life is, yeah. So are you wrong for like, because the Israelites believe they're right, because it's God with them, but then are you also wrong to like not want to just like submit, because like you've been living here for a long time? So how would you say those people are wrong just because they defend themselves and their family? Because the Israelites were gonna kill them if they didn't do such
Yeah.
things. So how would you justify that?
Does that remind you of any current conflicts we're having right now that involve some Israelites? I don't even want to talk about the conflicts I'm talking about, but you guys already know. Essentially, the story about the Canaanites, for those of you that don't know, is essentially like God promised the Israelites the land of Canaan, the land flowing with milk and honey, um, and people actually lived there though, which again, it's a bit like I said, a bit like another land in some Middle Eastern region that I'm not going to mention, which was promised to some people
Yeah, you
apparently.
might get flagged
Yeah, I
here.
might get
Just
flagged. I
gotta be
might get
careful.
flagged. Oh, yeah, I gotta be good. But that's part of the kind of things in the Bible where it's kind of like, oh, we're just going to take that land because God promised it to us, and this is a beautiful land. But people actually live here. And again, how would you square that with a God that's meant to be like all loving and meant to actually care about everyone else, etc., etc. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. But it's been a very exciting, interesting conversation. I really appreciate your openness, T100. It feels interesting. I'm getting used to calling you that now. Even if you tell me your real name, I might just keep calling you T100. But really, really thank you for coming on. Really appreciate that.
No problem, man. No problem.
Take it easy, man. I'm gonna wrap up very shortly on news from around the world. But yeah, really
All right,
appreciate
no
it. I always
worries.
enjoy these kind of engagements and stuff. So thank you so much.
No worries.
All right, thank you. That was T100 guys talking about um God, religion, things like that. I'm gonna wrap up on news from around the world. Thank you guys for joining. Really appreciate it. We're up to 3.5 likes. Very, very nice. Engagement is getting up every time. It's the second week in a row now. I've had a live audience, someone coming on to speak. Hopefully, we can make this a regularity. And hopefully next week I might be able to avoid getting limited again, because I think when I did my test, there was like quite a few people here already. Need more people in the chat saying their own thoughts. You're right. You're right. Yes, tell them T100. You're right. I think maybe they were just so enthralled by our conversation, but you're right. This is a conversation like a lot of people here, I believe in God in some way. So it would have been nice to get some pushback. I mean, we did get some, right? Daniel was saying some stuff. Onike mocked me. So there were there were quite a few things, but I think the bigger the audience grows, we're gonna have more and more people challenging us on certain things, and hopefully again maybe next week I'm gonna try and avoid getting suppressed. I think I've figured it out now. As long as I show this screen and just myself, I think I'm fine. It'd be nice to hear criticism. You know what? Exactly. I 100% agree with you. Maybe next time, if we can have two people coming on, I won't say like a debate type of thing, but I mean, I can try and find someone for the debate. Like a lot of us that are black and stuff are religious, and so trying to hear like different perspectives on these things, even within like Christianity, right? We don't have to keep it. We don't have to do it like a kind of like who believes in God, who doesn't. It can be like you have, you're a Christian, in nominally speaking anyway, but you were Jehovah's Witness previously. I was Jehovah's Witness previously. Having someone that challenged you to find it impossible, they would. You know what? I'm sure like my brother, when I tell him about the kind of conversations I have today, he'll be like, interesting, but we're not going to talk much about it. And my parents as well, because they're still active Jehovah's Witnesses, so they would not be getting that. In fact, my brother told me like he can't really join my life because I talk about politics, and obviously Jehovah's Witnesses are not allowed to get involved in politics, so that's why he doesn't join my lives. He supports me though in his own way, but he's not going to join. So they are very strict about that. It's very unlikely I'll find a Jehovah's come and debate me. I don't think they really do like debate type stuff. They can try and convince me of stuff, but I guess this would kind of be viewed as like too far fetched for them, because I guess from their perspective it's a very low yield thing, right? You have a lot to lose because you know it's gonna make you look a bit somehow and not very much to gain. They're on TikTok, really? I didn't know they were on TikTok. I mean, I'd love that when I get bigger. Hopefully, yeah. I mean, I'm always open to a conversation, and I think I still sympathize with a lot of the things they believe in. So I'm not gonna be like, hating on it or whatever. I'm just gonna genuinely want to have a conversation with them about how they see certain things. But can you imagine a world where I speak to one of them and after that they start talking about they're not going to church anymore? Hey, even I'll feel kind of bad. Like I'll feel kind of guilty. About stuff like that because I don't know. Again, in as much as I don't believe in it, I still think it's generally speaking a nice thing to believe in, a nice way of being. So I wouldn't like condemn or again, my family believe in it. Like they're the closest people I have, generally speaking. So like I wouldn't condemn anyone for it. I get it basically, but I just don't believe in it for myself personally. But people that believe it, and I think again, on balance of things, I know you mentioned like T100 about the gossiping and stuff like that. I think on balance, of things, I think Jehovah's Witnesses are relatively decent Christians. Like I guess you have bad people in everywhere, but like generally speaking, they're like they have a real community. Which as much as you can say, like some of that community is meant to be like we don't really want to be mixing with people that are not Jehovah's Witnesses, so we're gonna make our own community. But at the same time, it's very good. Like they do a lot of social stuff. You know, when I go to Sheffield to see my parents, my sister's church, they're very, very active. Like they're always going out, they're always going on staycations and like this and that and the other stuff. Yeah, when you're in it, they help you. But when you're outside, yeah, when people are outside, like I think my sister, one of the girls from my sister's church had like a get together or something like that. Um, and I think I was gonna go to Sheffield that weekend, and my sister was like, "Yeah, okay, you can't come because one of your witnesses." Which, again, in the context of what they believe in, I don't take offense. I get it. Like some people might be like, "Whoa, wow, your sister's there, and you can't go," blah blah. Fair enough, but I also get it. Like they believe in like protecting their blah blah, and you can see how like I guess if I was someone that was a bit more of a negative, if you want to say that person, having those kind of people around can eventually start to corrupt, especially impressionable people, right? So, you don't want to have too much about. Obviously, funny speaking, my cousin is also he also lives in Sheffield, and he's part of them, so I can see those people like outside of it, I guess. But like, in the context of the thing, I can't. Fair enough. I understand. It is what it is. Um, let's go through some news picks from around the world to wrap up. I've rejigged the format this weekend because I realized that I've been trying to have elongated conversations about topics that are ostensibly quite short. I'm still working on trying to make, my overall goal and aim is to try and make the news, what we consume, more fun to talk about. And again, this Jehovah's Witness topic is an example, right? Like I saw this because of the blood transfusion topic, but that led to a very interesting conversation between me and T100, where you shared his views about those kind of things. So that's still kind of, I think I'm getting there. I'm getting better at that. Like I don't want to make it boring because these things are they can be quite boring in their native element. But in as much as you can pick a thread of one conversation and spring it into something more social, I think that makes for a very great conversation. I think T100, you're totally right. If I had another person on that was actually a Jehovah's Witness, that would be amazing. But like someone else that believed in a different sect of Christianity, that had questions about Jehovah's Witnesses or that critiqued it because they believe their Christian view of the world is more interesting. That would be even more amazing. Can you imagine in a world where we're talking about, Christmas is coming up. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in Christmas, so maybe that's an excuse to have a conversation around, do a little Christmas special about, why they don't believe in that, and have other people on that do believe in that, and have a little conversation about it. But bear with me, guys. I'm calibrating as I go along, so hopefully I'm gonna get better and better at this. And the birthday thing, I never got that. Yes, of course, I should mention that. Jehovah's Witnesses also don't believe in birthdays. I'm sure you guys know about this. I guess the theory about T1, I'm sure you already know about it. I think the theory about that is that in the Bible, only two people celebrate their birthday, and those two people they unalived people on their birthday. That is one of their reasons. The second reason is that apparently, well, we don't have any documentation of Jesus celebrating his birthday. So the two things, the two reasons to summarize why Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate their birthday is because the two people that are documented celebrating their birthday in the Bible, bad stuff happened on their birthdays. Yeah, John. Yeah, because John was killed by was it King Herod, and then the other person, I forgot who the other person was, but then also Jesus didn't celebrate his birthday, which is the other reason. Now, I guess one could say like, just because they documented two that are negative, I'm sure there could have been loads that were positive. So I guess that's where you can see some critique of like, again, in trying to be like scholarly about the way they understand the Bible, maybe sometimes they're reading into stuff a bit too much where they shouldn't. The point about Jesus not celebrating his birthday might be a good point, but then you can say, "Oh, thank you, Bliss. Really appreciate that. One call, very nice." But then you could also say like some people in the, there's a lot of things Jesus didn't celebrate. Like I'm sure you can think of other things that I didn't celebrate. A name is, oh yeah, you made it, thank you. Hopefully it wasn't a bad Sunday. I've been going on for almost an hour and a half. We had a very interesting conversation about Jesus, about Jehovah Witnesses. I don't know if you're religious or if you care much about that kind of topic. But it was a very interesting conversation. This is going to be recorded as well, like I said, guys. So it's going to be available on YouTube, probably tomorrow. And it's very, very nice to get some audience engagement. Anyway, as I was saying, is that a reason to not believe in celebrate your birthday? What do you guys think? Do you guys think that makes sense as a reason to not celebrate your birthday because bad things happen in the Bible to people that don't celebrate their birthday? It was too locked. It was too locked in. That's such a young person thing to say. You're right. Jesus was just too locked in, man. Bro was not on it, man. Bro was not. It was not on all that. Like you guys are celebrating. How much doesn't leave time for miracles and evangelizing? Yeah, you're right. Top. I think I agree with you. Oh, I used to go to. Yeah, she never. Yeah, when I was in school and people celebrate their birthdays, I would just not go to like that. Like, yeah, I'll just be like, yeah, I'm not going. Yeah, if you believe in it, is that a valid reason for those who believe? I mean, I don't know if I agree with that though, Bliss. I'll be honest, because I think like the Christmas one, I understand the Christmas one because with Christmas you could say like again, Christmas is actually ostensibly a pagan holiday, like that's documented. So that makes a lot of sense why you wouldn't want to associate things that are pagan with, things that, what do you call it? Things like, Jesus' birth, because Jesus' birth is literally one of the biggest things that happened in the Bible. And so trying to bring in some pagan holiday to do with that, no, 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 we don't do that. Has no one ever been killed out? T100 is here, man. He's here for all of this. So I can see that. And by the way, on the topic, you're Christian and stuff. Do they have any alternative? They celebrate a memorial of Jesus' death. So it's like Easter. Um, they kind of have like a little. I mean, we were talking about it earlier. Like Jehovah's believe like 144,000 people are gonna go to heaven. And so when Jesus had like, remember when Jesus was gonna die, and then he had like the meal with his what do you call it, with his disciples, and they broke bread and all that kind of, they do that, and obviously wedding anniversaries and stuff like that. That's your standard variety stuff, but they don't celebrate the Christmas again. I get, but I mean, you guys that are Christian that celebrate Christmas, what do you guys think about that? The fact that Christmas is a pagan holiday, does it not feel a bit weird, like associating? Because again, this is where I think like Jehovah's have a point on that one. It's a very specific number. That number's in the Bible, Bliss. 144,000 is in the Bible. I showed it earlier. Let me show you, Bliss, if you missed it. Where is it? Revelations. Really? They don't celebrate Christmas in your church? That's interesting. So Bliss, this is where 144,000 comes from. It's in the Bible. Say what you want about Jehovah Witnesses. They are scholarly about the Bible. I'm having two different conversations at once. I'm so sorry. For the rest of eternity. No. So I think Bliss. I think the idea is that 144,000 go to heaven to become like, like serve with God and stuff, and then the rest of the people on earth and paradise. So the earth is going to become like Garden of Eden version 2, basically, and then everyone else is going to be on there. I think that's the idea about it. How many have gone? That's a very good question, actually. I think right now no one. I think they all go when Jesus comes back. I think that's the idea about it. But interestingly, I forgot to mention this earlier, guys. The 144,000, it's only people that have lived and died after Jesus came. I don't know where they got that qualification from, but like if you lived before Jesus, you can't be one of the 144,000. I'm not sure exactly why they T100. Do you remember why they some are there already? I thought it was like when Jesus comes back, they're all gonna like go finally. Again, I don't remember properly. Who's keeping count? I'm guessing God God doesn't need numbers, right? His brain is. Does God have a brain? I'm not sure what he has, but I'm sure God doesn't need a reminder of how many. Can you imagine if they slip in someone else like, hey, what's this guy? What's this guy doing here? Bro doesn't have a ticket. He's trying to come in. Bro, your ass needs to go to the back, mate. Go back to Earth, man. We're good over here, bro. We got enough space. It's like, oh, I'm here to live as a pristine king now. We're good on you, bro. We're chill on you, bro. Stay. Go back to Earth, man. We don't need any more, man. We're full up. We're full up. No more space. No more space. Oh, that's jokes. Pentecostal. Top is Pentecostal. MFM. MFM. What's MFM is I don't know if I don't remember which one. So you guys don't celebrate Christmas. What do you guys do on Do you guys commemorate Jesus's birthday in any way, or his death, or anything? His death, obviously, Easter's already a thing, but his birth. How do you guys go around Jesus' birth? That's very interesting. Hit it with a stiff arm, like get away from me, man. I actually didn't know that Pentecostals don't celebrate Christmas. That's very interesting. Let me look into this. I did not know this. Pentecostal Christmas. Oh, some of the members do, but it's not part of the church's doctrine. Oh, that is very, very interesting. I might plug my headphones back in and take this off because it's hurting my head. They celebrate Easter. I guess that makes sense. That makes sense. Let me plug this back in, guys. One moment. All right, I believe you guys should be able to hear me. I just removed the headset because it's hurting my head. Okay, I think you guys can hear me. All right, sorry, we're just wrapping up a conversation about. I mean, it's got even more lively now. I was just thinking about wrapping it up, but now we're getting a very exciting conversations about Pentecostals and why they don't celebrate. Some of them don't celebrate Christmas, which is really good. But Top, that's why you celebrate Christmas. I feel like I remember you telling me about Christmas. Am I missing something there? Am I exposing you? Can you do a live on the use of Christianity by political parties? Ooh, Top it! Wow, you've been exposed. I'm sorry. I'm gonna click this T100. That'll be very interesting. Now he's letting me pin comments again. That's very interesting. Does that include going to church Christmas Eve? I imagine so. But imagine if your church doesn't celebrate Christmas, they're not going to be doing any decorating your house and doing carols. Ooh. Where does that even come from? What's that even got to do with? Okay, because Jesus was born, isn't it? Or the kind of like, they took him the gifts and stuff like that. Yeah, Topic. What's the line for celebrating? Can you have like, if you have like a dinner, but you're like, this is not Christmas dinner, this is just a dinner. Okay, because to be fair, have you seen people like Pastor Toby? Yeah, I've seen him. Because interestingly, like, obviously my parents are Jehovah Witnesses and we don't celebrate Christmas. But when I go home for Christmas, because like I don't go home for Christmas, I go home because it's the holidays and everyone else is home. We do have like a big feast on that day, but that's because like no one goes to work. So like my dad's not going to work, I'm not going to work, my mom's not, everyone's at home. We're gonna eat as a family, which we rarely do because I don't live at home anyway. But you love a Christmas dinner. What's the Jamaican Christmas? When I was growing up, one of my best friends was Jamaican, and I used to go to his house for Christmas. Man, we used to have a nice meal. Oh, bruh, that was good times. I kind of miss that. Decorations, yeah, I think it's just a very nice period. I think that Christmas time, it just seems like everyone's having a good time. Everyone's vibing. Everyone's like, it's just a nice atmosphere in the country. Even like I feel like. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Dinners. To be fair, I'm sure like my mom's gonna do something nice. But I'm not gonna lie. If I had to choose, my Christmas dinner would be yam and egg. I'll be real. Yam and egg me every time, man. Like make the egg like extra spicy as well. So like sometimes when you make the egg, I want to see like cuts of like mince pies. Bliss. I'm not sure about mince pie, mate. I don't know about all that. Mince, mince pie. I used to think mince pie had like beef mince in it. Yam and egg, yes, yam and egg, bliss. Yam and egg is the best food ever invented. I don't think you understand. Like yam and egg is the best food there is, in my opinion. I can have it like Christmas. Give me yam and egg. Put like Scotch bonnet, like cut up like Scotch bonnets into the egg. Sometimes when you bite into it, you get that little like the bite, like the heat just hits you. Mince pies, the fact that there's fruit in them is very disappointing because I thought mince pies had like beef mince in them. Then I found out they were like fruity. We're not on all that, man. Let me put a question. Is yam and egg the best? Pounded yam? No, not pounded yam. No, yam and egg and pounded yam is different. Christmas meal there is. Let me show you. Pounded yam for Christmas. I don't know about that. I thought it was same. I thought it was a meat pie. Let me show you yam and egg. Oh, yam and egg is so good, man. Oh, my Lord. What a dish. Yeah, I mean, all these pictures don't really do it justice, man. I don't know about all of this. Everyone always makes it a bit different. This one looks about what I'm talking about. But the key is to make T100. Oh, you second what T100. What's about the conversation on T100? I know you mentioned about Pastor Toby. Just give me a second. I'm still I'm bigging up yam and egg here. I'll get to that in a minute. But the key is to make the yam super soft. Some people they make the yam like like not soft. Let me take a picture. It's gonna be funny to show people I'm talking about yam and egg on my live. This is hilarious. 1 second. Anyway, some people make the yam and they make it like I need the yam falling apart. Like when I grab it, it falls apart. What's the red stuff? Yeah, this live is funny. The red stuff is pepper. So like Nigerians make their egg and they make like we put like peppers in it because Yoruba people, if we don't eat spice, like something's gonna happen to us. Like everything has to be hot. Yes, Daniel, I'm gonna address this. You're right. I actually pinned the comment earlier. I will do a separate live on that. Thank you for bringing that up. This is what I love. Community. You guys are telling me what to do. Your wish is my command. I live to serve you. That's gonna be coming up very, very soon. In fact, I might do it next week actually, because Christmas is coming up. Political parties, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh, Bliss, if you like spice, you're gonna love this. Like, and again, sometimes you can fry the pepper, put the egg in it. Boiled egg? No. This is not. We're not Ghanaians, man. We don't. We're not on all that boiled egg stuff. We like boiled egg, but not like yam. You have to like. I don't know how to describe it, please. I need to explain it to you properly. Like the way we make it. It's the best. It's the best. You can see these are peppers, tomatoes, Scotch bonnets. Just chuck it all in there. It has to be red. If you see Nigerian eat an egg and it's white, you might have like a stomach ulcer or something. We don't do that. Like the egg, it has to be hot. It has to be spicy. Yes. Now back to the conversation about the use of Christianity by political parties. Guys, I'm thinking about that. Like, in as much as I don't know how much leg that conversation has though, because I'm just thinking about it right now. Like, oh yeah, you do have like the Christian Zionists. You know, you guys are bringing up a very good point. Yeah, people like, I'm gonna try and get a Christian Zionist to come and talk. That'll be sick. Because you know how you have a lot of like black Christians that go to Israel a lot and believe in like Israel and all that kind of political projects and stuff. I think that life might get taken down very, very quickly. So I gotta be careful and see how I frame that conversation. But you guys are not wrong. I'm actually gonna write that down, guys. Give me a second. This is what I love, by the way. Thank you guys so much for suggesting that topic. I love making it a collective. It's not just me saying stuff. Let's all be suggesting what we want to talk about. You guys are going to be involved in that conversation. I'm going to be involved in it. If you're going to be involved in it, yeah, what do you like to talk about? Obviously, if you're suggesting a topic, make sure to invite your friends. I want to try and get to like 10 active viewers next time. I think I'm up to 7 today. I think I was at 7 or 8 last time, but I can try and get to 10. Also, can we try and beat 4.2k likes? That's what I got on my last live stream. Let's try and get a bit more than 4.2k likes, please, if you don't mind, so I can show some growth. Let's click on the screen and get to 4.3k likes. Is that possible? I think it's possible. Let's do it, guys. I'm going to write this down. The use of Christianity by political parties. How the British political figures justify stopping immigration. Wait, sorry, T100. Is that tied to the Christianity? Is that different? That sounds like a different conversation. I'm just checking, by the way. How tied to it? I've not heard of. Can you give me a bit more about that? I haven't heard about them using Christianity to justify. Or is that when they say like, oh, they don't want the country to be like more Muslim and they want to keep our, like, we're a Christian nation, want to keep our Christian. Oh yes. That's what you're saying. Yeah. That's a fair conversation to have. Thank you for that. Yes, 4.5k likes. Let's go. We are growing. I love it. I love growth, improvement, continuous improvement, getting better every time. Very nice to see. How do you use Christianity to justify harsh policies? Yeah. That's good. That is very good. All right, let's do some news picks from the week. So I'm gonna try and do a different idea of news picks from the week. This time I'm gonna just wrap up like the interesting things I've found. I've kind of put them in a folder on X. Oh, we might get to 5k likes. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it, guys. And so I'm just gonna go through them like a whistle stop tour of like, this is something I found. This is why it was interesting to me. What do you guys think? That kind of thing. Instead of me trying to do like an elongated conversation about it. I have tattoos. What do my parents say? Oh, I do have tattoos. I have a full sleeve on this arm. Flowers. I have some. I don't know what this is. I have some animals on my thing. My parents are quite liberal. The biggest compliment I can give my parents is that they have an absolute delusional trust in me, which is kind of like they genuinely, for the most part, believe like I can do no wrong, which is very, very confidence inspiring as a child. But also sometimes I wish they like, I don't know, ask my stuff. My tattoo surprised you? Why? So my parents didn't really care. Like, I used to dye my hair when I was growing up. Initially my dad first saw. I think his initial concern was like, is that going to make me like not very employable? Then I was like, nowadays people don't really care, blah blah. And then after a while, they just were like, oh, okay. I stopped showing them after a bit because like when I first got my first one was this Nigerian. I don't. You guys can't even see that. Can you guys see that? I don't know how to put my arm in a way you guys can see. It's like in the inside of my arm, Nigerian thing. And then my dad was like, "How are you gonna get a job in white collar corporate institution when you have tattoos? Blah 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 blah." So I told him like a lot of people have tattoos, even senior people they have tattoos. As long as I don't have like a face tattoo or like a neck tattoo, even neck might be even okay. Face tattoo, anything like that is fine. So eventually they kind of came around, and now we don't really talk about it anymore. Like I've had them for a while now. But yeah, I don't know why my tattoos surprise you, Bliss. Am I too nerdy to have tattoos? Am I not? I don't have that kind of range. You saw me as like this political. He's gonna go to parliament soon. Why is he having tattoos? But now my parents are pretty open to it. Wait, what do you mean? Yes, you're not meant to agree with that. So I said that as a joke. Talking about yes, no, not yes. Say no yes. You're meant to be like, oh no, I just thought like blah blah. She actually said yes. What's this nerd doing having tattoos? What do you mean? I'm an enigma. I'm meant to have range. Like I can't fit into a box. I'm a shapeshifter. I can do it all. No. Is it not a bad thing though? I think they call that damning with faint praise. It's a compliment, but not really. You're basically saying like, you're a smart, serious guy, but you're a bit of a nerd, innit? What are you doing with tattoos? Who you trying to impress? What is that for? Anyway. Yeah, I like to think of myself as someone that has a bit of a range like that. But yes, I guess I am quite nerdy in how I am. What can I say? Anyway, news picks from around the world. I've been prevaricating on this. Here we go. I talked about this one already. Kaushi. Should I play this video? Do you guys want to hear this? Let me play this video so you guys can hear what it's saying.
Close to 100 billion a year of asset class, right? Like, it's pretty easy to imagine a 10x from here.
Mark, you've mentioned multiple times that you think prediction markets will be bigger than the stock market. What is it going to take to become a $1 trillion asset class?
It's pretty much already like a close to 100 billion a year of asset class, right? Like, it's pretty easy to imagine a 10x from here. Like, we haven't even started. It's been a year. I think a very large number of people care, much larger than traditional markets. And I think retail as a pie has just been growing in the US, and I think it's going to keep growing. It's growing in the stock market, but it's growing outside of the stock market. The long-term vision is to financialize everything and create a tradable asset out of any difference in opinion. And I think if you do build a general purpose exchange that can resolve differences of opinions on anything, like the TAM is quite massive, quite a bit bigger than the current TAM of the stock market. I think putting aside sort of the retail.
All right, enough of that. This is one of the CEOs of this new company called Kaushi. And there he's using fancy words like TAM, 10x this, addressable market that, blah, 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 blah. Essentially, what they've created is a betting market to bet on almost anything you can think of. So let me actually show you guys what that looks like. It's not available in the UK quite yet, but this is the kind of hellscape where we have to look forward to. It's called Kaushi, and you can bet on anything that has, if you have a difference of opinion with someone, you can just bet on it. Let me show you some of the examples of the kind of things you can bet on in our world nowadays. If I go to culture, you can bet on the top US Netflix show this week. Oh, there's an echo. Oh, sorry. Mute. Is that better? Testing. Is it gone? Yes, it's similar to Polymarket. That's why I have an echo, guys. Oh, great. Still there? Huh? Hold on. How about now? Is it gone now? I just muted. It's like two audios. Oh, it's all good. Okay, sorry. I just realized my thing was on now. Sorry about that, guys. It's a bit like Polymarket. Yeah. I haven't seen much of Polymarket, but you can even bet on like, will Trump attend another UFC event? What? Let's see the wacky ones we can find. Who will go on Joe Rogan this year? What are we doing? So you can bet on all these things. PS6 is going to be announced this year, yes or no? Whatever. Okay, cool. If free win, if there's an event at the White House. Yeah, good point actually. How would they? Let me actually see how they tell you how they decide it. Where's the one I just? Where's the UFC one again? Oh, I lost it now. Is it at the bottom? No, I can't find it now. Where's the? Usually, here we go. It tells you exactly what the rules are for it to be. If Trump attends a numbered UFC event, the market resolves to yes. Attendance is confirmed if the person is reported present by blah 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 blah. Review the full rules. No, it doesn't really say. It doesn't really. You're right. That's a good question though. Then what I think what happens basically, Bliss, is that you can I can bet yes right now if I lived in America or somewhere that is available. I can bet yes, and then I can put some money on it basically. And if Trump attends a UFC event, I win the money. If I bet no and Trump doesn't attend, I lose the money. It's like gambling on just like random stuff. It's a bit like those drunk people. You know those drunk uncles like at the family cookout. Just start betting on like, oh, I can throw this thing. If I throw this thing, how many times is it gonna bounce? Or just like silly stuff like that. Imagine like your drunk uncles came together and made a betting market. That's kind of what this is. Like we're betting on stuff that makes no sense, that doesn't add any value to anything. We're just vibing and freestyling. Like, some of them are even completely ridiculous. Like, I talked about the fact that you can bet on. Yeah, they're making it even more accessible. Like, because a lot of people are not interested in like sports betting because they don't really understand it. Blah blah. But now you can bet on stuff that just kind of makes it seem fun. Like we're just betting on stuff like just for a laugh, just for a joke, and doesn't require any real skill, right? Like if you go into the crypto one, what's the climate one saying? Is there going to be snow in Chicago this month? What? Rain in Denver. I'm trying to find a silly one. It's just, will US meet its climate change goals? Anyone betting yes on this? I don't think they've read the news. I don't think they've read these. But they really shouldn't have access to their money if they're betting yes on that. Anyway, that's kind of what we have on this cow sheet. If it becomes available in the UK, I'll report on that. I'll see what happens. Maybe they should put a bet on like, is it going to be available? It looks fun. I mean, I guess it does look. That's the aim of it. It's meant to look like fun and engaging. Like if you don't care, even if you don't care about all these things, just for a laugh, you can just put like I don't know, $5, £5 on like. That's the aim of it. It's meant to look fun and just throw some money at it just for bands. See what happens. Let's see. Will Israel and Syria normalize relations? Okay. What countries will Pope Leo visit? These kind of nonsense. There's already actually been a scandal about this because apparently someone at Google was gaming it. Let me see. Google gaming Cauchy, something like that. I can't find. There was a story about how basically someone at Google exposed for like doctrine algorithm to try and essentially win some money on there because they've been doing really well. So just to show you how that's going. What else? What else do we have? Some war stuff. Apparently more than 148 billion was spent by the US government to build a free Afghanistan. What's the end goal? I'm not even sure, Bliss. That's a good question. Sorry, maybe I moved on from that conversation too soon. I'm not sure what the end goal of this is. Again, what the guy said, if you heard what he said, is like to create a tradable asset out of any difference of opinion. So before, I guess you have tradable assets like derivatives, which is like technically in the stock market, you can bet on assets going up or down. You can buy a put option or call option if you think it's going to go up. You can sell futures, you can buy futures. So I think what they're trying to do basically is like anytime there's something we can have an opinion on, make money out of it. That's it. Like there's no real, again, when we live in this kind of capitalist system, so now we're betting on opinions. Exactly. Like there's not meant to be aim in it, Bliss. And I know, Bliss, you're thinking like, oh, what's the value in it? Capitalists don't care about like real value and like real world value or use or anything like that. All they care about is, can we make money? And that's kind of the point I've been making on a lot of the videos I've been doing about these things is like we're getting to a point where it's becoming so naked that like the aim of the system is just to make more money so you can be in a position to make even more money the next day. Why are you making that money? There's not meant to be a rhyme or reason. There's not meant to be an aim. Like the profit and the money is the end goal. Is that destroying society? So what? We're making money. Exactly. At what cost on us? Is that developing a whole new generation of gambling addicts, which is going to destroy the social fabric of, our civilization? So what? We're making profits at the end of the day. That's what really matters. Can a system that does that survive for very long? Probably not. But if it's going to end, it's going to make for very fascinating What in World Weekly content, which I'm going to be very happily covering every week. So their loss is my gain, I guess. Is giving me stuff to talk about. And again, this is kind of why I'm doing these things. Like these kind of things are happening where in a world we wasn't talking about this. It's just very interesting to know about, right? Like just know about exactly the kind of war that's going on around us. Anyway, moving on to the next topic. This is a quick little war one. Now, I bookmarked this one because the phraseology here is interesting. It says more than 148 billion was spent by the US government in its failed attempt to build a free Afghanistan. Now, that implies that the goal of the US government in invading the country was to create a free democratic country. Really? Is that really why they did it? Like, give me a break. Okay? Give me a break. Yeah? And a lot of my problem with mainstream media, if you want to call them that, is like this. Their framing is already wrong. They create a kind of Overton window in which you can't even question the fact that the motives of these people are negative. It's always presupposed that we only do bad things because we're trying to do good things, but then we just somehow do bad things by accident. Not that we're going out there to do bad things and that's the goal of what we're trying to do. You know, there was a very famous general that talks about how it was the intention of the US government to invade 5 countries in 7 years. Afghanistan being one of them. Iraq, Syria, Yemen, etc. Why do we do that? Natural resources like T100 mentioned, to boost the stocks and profits of companies like these ones. Global arms sales reach a record 679 billion. Those two things are connected, by the way. A lot of that 148 billion that was wasted in Afghanistan, to us it was wasted. I mean, we're not Americans, but like it's wasted in the sense of like the American people could benefit from having healthcare, maybe a functioning public service systems and stuff like that. It's not wasted to the defense contractors who are making off like bandits and making record amount of sales and arms. Like that is the goal, you know, the military industrial complex. I'm sure you guys have heard a lot about. So this story right here is tied to this Afghanistan story, which is like, oh, we lost a bunch of money trying to and if you read the actual article, it's laughable because if you actually think about Afghanistan, the Taliban, I remember someone made a joke about this on Twitter before. The Taliban are a bunch of people that wear kaftans and like like long dresses, and they somehow managed to get the US government to spend 148 billion. And what was the end result? The US government left Afghanistan with their tail between their legs. So you just kind of put into perspective like the limits of military power. Like you can go in there and bomb everything that moves, but eventually you're actually gonna have to leave and be like, okay, we can't do anything here. And fast forward 20 something years after the initial invasion, what we have now is a country that's totally controlled by the Taliban, the same people that the US government invaded Afghanistan to try and get rid of. So after 20 something years, 140 something billion and a few thousand people unalived and soldiers and stuff, we're back to where we are now, which is like, oh, what we had before is like the Taliban we're scared about the Taliban running the country, so we invade and we spend 150 billion, and now the Taliban are running the country. Amazing success. Really, really amazing. Like the geniuses at the Defense Department and the military establishment that came up with this plan, I couldn't thank you enough. You guys are the smartest people in the world. Anyway, moving on. Have you guys heard about this story? This is a I was talking about free speech earlier and like the limits and stuff like that, but this is a very good story about that. So if you guys are not on the Twitter machine, just a quick summary of the story was essentially like this girl from the University of. Should I just actually just play it? Let me just play the video. Does the video tell me anything about it? Let me see. 1 second. Let me see. The video doesn't do it justice. I need to try and find a summary of the story to try and show you guys. Essentially, what happened was like, have I muted this? Okay, it's muted. Okay, this girl from the University of Oklahoma, she wrote this article about a psychology essay. A teacher told her to write an essay, and she said, "Oh, let me just try and find the full story. I think that'll just be interesting instead of me just talking about it. And my throat's hurting a little bit, so let me see if I can find the story. Oklahoma University. But just to show you how smart the right wing are in America. These are not very bright people. Here we go. Let's see. Can we find the prophecy foretold? I'm trying to see if I can find a quick summary of it. Okay, here we go. So this girl, she was in a psychology course, and our teacher told her to write an article about gender views and stuff like that. She then wrote where's the article she wrote? Oh, there we go. She wrote this article essentially saying basically, blah 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 blah. God made male and female, and God made man and woman, and etc etc etc. But he didn't actually answer the question, which is the question about how society portrays it. But she just started talking about how she believes God made all these things and everything comes from God, blah blah blah. So the teacher was like, "You're talking rubbish." Gave her a 0. In typical right wing fashion. Now these people always complain about snowflakes and woke. I've said it so many times. No one is a bigger snowflake than especially the American right wing, even in the UK as well. No one uses and weaponizes identity or their beliefs more than these people. The only reason they get mad is when other people do it back to them. Exactly. They wanted to use that because the teacher's trans. They wanted to try and use that to try and get rid of her and say like, oh my God, trans people, blah, blah, blah. It had nothing to do with the teacher being trans. It had nothing to do with that at all. So she then runs to like the media and the Turning Point and all these kind of idiots. And they then said like, oh, you're discriminating against me. And obviously the girl's now become a kind of right-wing sensation, even though she's just talking rubbish and she's not even very smart. She say everything comes from God, blah, blah. So actually, impressively, a lot of the students have been rallying around the teacher, and they basically because the teacher got suspended by the university, and the university actually released a statement. Let me just try and find their statement. University, there we go. This is their statement. On Wednesday, a lecturer allegedly demonstrated viewpoint discrimination by excusing students who intended to miss class, blah 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 blah. So now they've suspended the teacher. The biggest snowflakes in the world. Part of the reason why I actually bookmarked the story is because it got me thinking about, again, this is where America is right now, where you're at university. This is meant to be a place where you're sharing ideas, talking about intelligent stuff, applying some reason and logic. There's some Christians who are physics professors. They believe in God and stuff, but they still, like, when it comes to, like, doing maths and all these things, they use their brain. They don't say, like, God created it, so I don't need to know about quantum mechanics. What? America's now got to a place where they're celebrating anti-intellectualism. People not taking an intellectual curiosity in engaging with a topic. Like, can you imagine the kind of strides we've made in psychology? I say we, like the world has made, Do you think we could have made those strides if people like this were professors? People that, like, instead of engaging in a topic and thinking about how it actually goes, they're talking about, oh, God did it, so I don't have to think about it. This is the state of the country. This is the kind of political, social atmosphere that someone like Trump becomes president. Because the country is not working properly anymore. Everyone's brain's turned off. So in a country like that, where your heroes are people like this, why would someone like Trump not be president? They deserve Trump. He's very fitting for the kind of things they believe in. So Trump is a culmination of what this country represents right now. And if you're thinking about where the US empire goes to, end, this is an example of it right now. And when I saw this story, I'm just thinking, like, the Chinese must be laughing to themselves because they're meant to be in like a new Cold War with the US. They don't even have to try. Like, the Chinese can just stand back and watch the US destroy itself, because if this is the kind of people you're promoting and becoming celebrities, can you imagine in China this kind of nonsense happening? They're a serious country. The US has now become a joke of a country, which brings me to the next joke, which is Trump receiving his Peace Prize. Do you guys remember this? FIFA's trying to do everything they can to woo Trump. So let me play the speech that the FIFA CEO gave. Like, Trump is like a child. I think I've seen her where she's wearing like a chain and stuff. I'll get to that in a minute. But in talking about the US flop era, let me play you this video about Trump receiving his Peace Prize and explain what it means after that. There's a new one. Oh, I haven't seen that one. 1 second. So this is
Please welcome the very first winner of the FIFA Peace Prize, the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald J. Trump. Please. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, this is your prize. This is your Peace Prize. There is also a beautiful medal for you that you can wear everywhere you want to go.
Right now.
Okay, let me hold. Fantastic. Excellent.
So that was Trump receiving his Peace Prize, because obviously Trump was campaigning to win the Nobel Prize. Then that didn't go very well because obviously, like, no serious person would think Trump, who's been involved in the destruction of Gaza, should be winning no Nobel Peace Prize. But then FIFA invented a prize just for Trump, just to appease his ego. Think of how small of a person. Who else was in the run? Bliss. I think it was a one man race. That's actually such a good point. Yeah, who else was in the running? What was the nominations like? It would actually make more sense if you beat some people. Like, let's nominate like 10 people. Like, and it's like, oh, Trump emerged victorious. Like, bro got prize, but was the only one competing for the prize. That's so funny. That's actually so funny. But this is the leader of the biggest country in the world, by the way, getting a made-up prize because his ego is so small that he has to be constantly validated. Nothing reveals the kind of psychology of the world leaders quite like this. Like, Trump is like almost too perfect of like a distillation of exactly what we have, like a narcissistic, probably sociopathic in some ways, small person who requires that level of gratification by people that, like, he needs it. A lot of these people need it. Like, this is who they are. They can't help themselves. And Trump is unique in the sense of, like, he's not ashamed of that, basically. He's just like, this is who I am. I don't care. Whereas you have a lot of the other leaders, like, they dress it in, like, more fancier language and all that kind of stuff. Why is the marketing the live as promotional? Because I'm not really sure, because I'm not getting paid. Sadly, no. When I was going to start the live, I take the option to, like, I think there's an option of, like, are you promoting a brand? Are you promoting yourself? I clicked the option on promoting myself. I wasn't sure, purely because I was scared that if I don't say that, they might then say later on, like, oh, you have what in the world, blah, blah, you're promoting yourself, so we're going to take you down. You know, they always find an excuse to take me down. So that's why I marked it like that, just to make sure, like, if they want to use that excuse, I cover that. But I don't know, is that a bad thing or a good thing? I'm not sure. You tell me, T100. I'm still working on getting good at this. Should I be turning that on or should I be turning it off? I'm not really sure. But that's why I marked it that way. I was like, maybe it's going to help my reach. I don't know. But mainly it was just to try and prevent them from restricting my life, which they still did anyway. I think those are the kind of stories I have this week. I'm gonna improve this section and make it more sharp and ready. But thank you guys for the engagement on this one anyway. I've been going for about 2 hours and I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna wrap up. Should I play a chess game to wrap up? I'm really enjoying this. I won my chess game earlier, so if I lose this one, I think I've really like the AI song. Should I do that? What's the AI song? Is it on TikTok? You sent it to me on TikTok, didn't you? I don't want to open my DMs in front of everyone. You've been practicing, Blaze. Oh, okay. Maybe you can play each other. What should I search? Where is it? Kemi Badenoch this. I said, you want me to open my DMs in front of everyone? What's someone offering me $1 million in there? T100. I can't just show everyone that. I gotta have some. You want to play Bliss? Topia said yes. Now I'm not opening my DMs in front of all of you. Let me just Google it. Kemi Badenoch AI video. Crew Kernexet. I don't know. Let me try and search that. Not live. Bliss, are you scared of something? Back yourself. I could hide screen, couldn't I? Let me just search that user. Crew Kern Gazettes. Let's see. Let's have a look. Which one is it? What's the latest one? I think this is one I've seen. I don't know what the latest one is. Is it this one?
We don't like each other, but we hate Stormer more. Kick down the budget, then we kick down the door. Nigel in the pub and Kimmy on the floor, shouting, who the hell's in charge, cause it ain't Stormer anymore. Who the hell's in charge, cause it ain't Stormer anymore. Yo, hey. We don't like each other, but we hate Stormer more. Kick down the budget, then we kick down the door. Nigel in the pub and Kimmy on the floor, shouting, who the hell's in charge, cause it ain't Stormer anymore. Hey. Who the hell's in charge, cause it ain't Stormer anymore. Hey. Yo, hey. Yo, I'm Big Nine strutting in with a pint in my hand. I made Brexit, can we still trying to understand? She's talking meritocracy, I'm talking make Britain great. She reads my poems at night just to keep herself awake. She calls me weak on Russia, says I'm full of hot air. But a party crashed the country, then asked me to repair. She stamped duty, this welfare, that blah blah blah. I'm the bloke they call when the Tories go ha 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 ha.
We don't like each other, but we hate Stormer more. Kick down the budget, then we kick down the door. Nigel in the pub and keep me on the floor, shouting, who the hell's in charge, cause it ain't Stormer anymore. Yeah.
Hey, 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 hey.
Who the hell's in charge, cause it ain't Stormer anymore. Yeah.
Hey, 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 hey.
Who the hell's in charge, cause it ain't Stormer anymore. It's can me be, darling, the Tory with a sting. I rebuilt the party while you built a podcasting thing. You tell tall tales about members manipulating your base. Your maths is worse than Starmer trying to find his own face. You copy half my policies and shout hypocrisy aloud. You're like a pub magician misdirecting a crowd, but I'm Starmer. Fine, we form a temporary team. You hit immigration, I hit his fiscal dream. And we don't like each other, but we hate Stormer more. Kick down the budget, then we kick down the door. Nigel in a pub and Kimmy on the floor, shouting, who the hell's in charge, cause
All right, that's enough of that. I feel like I might not be good enough entertainment anymore if this is what our politicians are already doing. What's the use of my entertainment? Like this is what we're doing now. Like this is what we're using AI to be sharing nonsense. This is a joke. Like this is a complete joke. Like what is this? What is this? We're so finished. We are so finished. Anyway, let's get a game going. I started playing 5+5, Dan, because I realized Queen's Gambit. Fuck it, accept it. And start singing on my live. I don't know about all that. Damn it. Actually, should I just... Oh, no, I want a castle. Oh, no, I just fucked myself. No, he's going to bring that one down. Damn it, that was a bad move. That was a bad move. Good luck. King's Gambit, yeah, he's gonna try and fuck these two pieces, isn't he? Going to e5. If he's smart, he should do that. He's not smart, he didn't do that. So I should try and protect those pieces. Let's run away. What should I do? Should I do that? I still didn't protect those pieces. I'm not sure I didn't just protect those pieces. That was a bit silly of me. Oh, fair enough. Let's just be taking pieces. That's fine. I should probably castle, but I don't know what I want to do. Okay, I can go there. Where's he gonna go? What else am I doing? I'm trying to play faster because I realize. Oh, I see what you're trying to do. I see what you're trying to do, sir. Oh, you're trying to double up on that piece. Fair enough. Let's support this piece right here. Oh, I need to get my my other knight out, shouldn't I? Forget it. Let's just start swapping pieces off. Play fast. I need to play fast. Is the key thing I'm working on. Like just playing fast. I feel like I think too much in these games. Thanks, Dan. Good luck. Oh, he's done the inevitable. Okay, I got 3 pieces on this, right? Takes. Yeah, I got enough backup on that. Let's get rid of this first. And then what? And then what is he gonna do? I'm up 2. If he takes that one, I take back. I'm comfortable. I'm chilling. Ooh, hello. That's a bit of a testy move. It's gonna put me in trouble if I go. I want a castle though. Still, let me go here. Protect that piece. What's my username? Ooh, good question. Doesn't it say on here? Oh no! What's my username? 1 second. I'm distracted. That was a very good move by him. He's gonna take this piece now. I'm cooked. It's not looking good. I just play so poorly when I'm playing on the computer. I don't know what I'm doing. How can I salvage this? What can I do? I'm blocked in. I can't even castle. It's not looking good. Alright, let's just push some pieces. Push in P. What else can he do? Okay, let's... Ooh, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't remember my username. I should be able to see it somewhere on here now. Oh, what a move! Oh no! I didn't even see that move. Oh my god, the knights are so slippery. They just be moving all about the place. Impossible to talk to find. What am I doing? Now I'm just now my queen is in the open running for her life. Oh my lord. This is not looking good. Can't win them all. I think I was playing too fast. What am I trying to do? Do I have any hope here, guys? It's not really looking good. You can take this piece. You can come here and put me in check. If I do that, protected check. It's long. How can I block this? By bringing the... I'm gonna resign. Why don't you grab the knight? I can't because this piece is protected. If I grab the knight, it's gonna take this piece right here. Boom. I think the only thing I can do now is take the knight here to block. Well, that's not gonna make much of a difference. I'm gonna resign. That was embarrassing. All right, it's been 2 hours and 11 minutes. I'm gonna blame the timing on why I lost that game so badly. That was terrible. But I appreciate you guys being in here. We've been going since around 2 p.m. It was not a good game, Dan. It was a very poor game. I play very poorly on the computer. That's my excuse. It's like I see it. It's too big. I'll play another game, but I don't think it's gonna go much better. My excuse is I've been going for 2 hours, but 13k likes, really, really amazing, guys. Thank you so much. We had a very interesting conversation. For those that missed it, we talked about Jehovah Witnesses, and I got some topic recommendations and options for what to do next week. We ended up talking about Christmas dinners and yam and egg. I don't know how we got there, but I love this though. That's why I just want to have a conversation on the Sunday afternoon. Let's go here, there, and everywhere. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Really, really appreciate it. We are growing. This is like almost triple the likes we had last time. So we had someone speak to this week, last week. Hopefully next week we have that again as well. Some of you guys that are always commenting. I know Topper, maybe Bliss. Next week I'm gonna, maybe not next week. Moving, like in the near future. I want you guys to come on and start speaking about let's start like engaging. You guys, I know some of you guys personally, so like a lot of you I know personally, but let's talk. Let's have a conversation like we would talk about in our day to day. We'll just have that on here. I think people like to see like entertaining conversation. Conversation begets conversation. So let's start getting a bit more brave, guys. Come on. Put your big girl pants on. I'm big boy pants. Looking at you, Dan. Thank you guys for tuning in. And like I said, the live is going to be available probably tomorrow. It's a long one, so it might be a bit hard to. It's going to take a while to download. But I'll try and get it downloaded tonight and put it on YouTube tomorrow for those. What do you mean maybe Tope? Tope is the Christian that doesn't celebrate Christmas. A lot of people want to hear about that Tope. Trust me. So I'd love for you to come and talk to us about that. But yeah, like I said, thank you guys for joining. Unfortunately, I couldn't win the last game, which have been a bit disappointing. But next week we go again. And yeah, Bliss, I'll send you my username. I don't remember what it is now. I should say somewhere on the screen, shouldn't it? Where is my username? Where should it say that? Where's my username? Oh, there we go. AdeJoseph752. I'll send it to you. That's my username. But let's play. If you guys want to add me, let's have a good time. Add Daniel's 2000 raid. Don't play him. He's crazy. I'm joking. You make it easy. Daniel's crazy. We can do a little nice chess teaching session sometime. have like a Christmas. I'm gonna try and do like a Christmas special, just like we're talking about 2100. Oh, sorry, bro. Sorry. Let me correct myself. My bad. Let me not shortchange you, bro. 2100. He's a beast. He's an absolute beast. He's a serious guy, like incredible levels. So I'm gonna try and put together like a little Christmas special. Like we're gonna be talking about everything, playing chairs, talking about Christmas and Jesus and all that, talking about everything. Let's do a Christmas. I'm gonna try and promote that heavily. So you guys are here right now. You're my witness. Help me with the promotion when I start pushing that out. Maybe not next, maybe the week after next or something like that. It'll be a really nice one to wrap up the year. Kind of have like 15, 20 people. That'll be amazing. Talking about so many things, so many interesting conversations. Just a way to celebrate the growth of War and World Weekly. Again, couldn't do it without you guys. This is not just my thing; it's our thing. Cosa Nostra, as the Italians say. So thank you guys again. Why don't I have a Discord? I'm not sure how to make that. I think I made a Twitch, but ideally I'd want to be able to go live simultaneously on all the platforms. But I think if you use for you to do that, you have to use like a software which requires you to get permission from some of them. Like some of them, they don't let you use the software to go live on there. And Discord, I'll look into Discord. You're right. Sorry about that. But ideally, I want to go live on multiple platforms. But TikTok, for example, doesn't let you go live on If you want to go live on using the software on TikTok, you have to use something called Restream, and they always like restrict your access if you're not playing games and stuff. So like, there's so many rules, and ideally, I'm going to go live on YouTube and TikTok and somewhere else where I don't have to then post the recording. You can just be available immediately. But TikTok is such a diva website. As you can see, they're always restricting me. Like, there's such divas here. But I do have like a lot of people, like, because TikTok is my biggest social media account, like in terms of What in World Weekly. So it's a natural place for me to have an audience because people already kind of see what I do. We talk about it, stuff like that. So that's why I'm using TikTok right now in the first instance. But I'll look into Discord. I'll look into all these things, a way to try and like have it in multiple places at once, expand my reach, go far and wide. So thank you guys again for tuning in. Same time next week, obviously you already know, 2 p.m. and next week I want you guys to try and tell a friend. I don't want to set you guys homework, but if everyone can come with one person, that's double the number we have. That's 10. We're already there. My goal for next week is trying to get to 10 active live viewers. So if you come, bring a friend. You're going to the motive, like, hey, right, you gotta bring a girl though. Like, if you're coming as a guy, you gotta bring one girl at least to balance it out. I'm gonna set that kind of rule. Guys will call you woke. That would be fun. If they call me woke, you call me whatever. It's gonna be like, disagreement makes for good conversation. Funny enough, isn't it? So like, the more you can have points of disagreement respectfully and stuff like that, it always adds to like, people want to hear these things. Like, again, whatever opinions you have nowadays, people are gonna have a disagreement, a difference of opinion. We're not gonna start betting on it like Kaushi does, but at least we can talk about it, right? So that's the aim. So if you know someone personally that I'm gonna do it, if I release the topic list earlier, maybe that'll probably help as well. If I release it on like Thursday or something like that, that might help. But a lot of the time, I'm genuinely committed to like What in the World Weekly. So as long as the week is not up, I can't release the topic list because my thinking is like, what if something happens on Friday or Saturday that really requires us talking about? But I guess like today, we can just always just flex and just pivot the conversation. But as much as I want to make it like a weekly wrap up, that's why I end up releasing the topic list probably quite late relatively. I'm releasing it on Saturday where conversations on Sunday. If I release it on like a Thursday or even like a Wednesday, I can do promotion all throughout the week, which would probably make it better and improve my viewership. So again, a kind of personal action on me to try and like define the topics quicker. Maybe that's what I'm going to try and do. Like if I do it like not for this week, but the previous week, then that way, like I don't have to wait till Saturday to get the topic list out. And if you guys want to help, promote it and tell someone because we're going to have a fun conversation, you can do that from Wednesday as opposed to doing it on Saturday and telling them, what are you doing 2 p.m. on Sunday, where a lot of people might just have plans and stuff like that. Exactly. I could just do like a bonus topic. Exactly. So thank you guys. I iterated that with you. I'm going to try and release the topic list latest Thursday, hopefully Wednesday. It's a busy week next week, to be fair, but the earlier I can do it, the better. And so that way we can have an even more lively conversation. But obviously you already know the time, Sunday at 2 p.m. That's not going to change. So let's make ourselves available. Yeah. Like whatever we're doing, it's not that important. We can listen to a conversation at the same time. I'm joking. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. And on that note, I will wrap up the conversation. Thank you so much for being here, and see you guys next week. I'm gonna say that I better see you guys next week. I'm joking. Really appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll speak to you guys next week. Bye. Adios. Odabo. Arrivederci. What else did they say? I've already said adios. Odabo. Arrivederci. I don't know what I've run out of languages. Sorry. Goodbye.